Intricacies, where we dive into authentic conversations about ourselves and our community, exploring topics that uplift and inspire us, from personal growth to social change. So grab your teacup and get ready to join the conversation. Facebook Live. Hi, Tuesday 1:53, checking in from Golden, Colorado with Tanisha Talks Tees. So I heard there's some breaking news, y'all, about Diddy. What's breaking news? Oh, I just got back from Dental's Adventures with the Blessed Bestie Booze, and yeah, did a little haul at the Dollar Tree. Got some because I told y'all about, you already know about our project that we do for our autism babies, Jagger and Elladora, called Elladorables Treasures. That's been going on now for a couple of years, doing well. So we're gonna add candles to the treasures. So we were just getting supply and getting other, essentials and things. Got a cute little haul of pretty vases and rocks and shells and colors and all of that beautiful stuff. So look for Elladora's candles coming soon to the treasures. I heard there's breaking news with Diddy, so we're gonna tap in now as we have some lunch, girl. We got some chicken fried rice. What is the new? Give me my phone stand. What's tea that is new tea about Diddy? Now, is my phone gonna stand up on here? Girl, this little phone stand. Okay, let me put it up on my other stand. So, I hear today ABC News has updated 49 minutes ago that Sean Diddy Combs faces new sexual abuse lawsuits. Girl, that's every other day. They are hitting the diddler with new suits. So, we know, like that's what that's doing with Diddy every other day. Right? We know that. Let's see. I hear he's snitching on the CEO of Abercrombie. Abercrombie's the clothing designer, right? Abercrombie. Okay, so let's take a listen in as ABC News has reported on it. Let's see. Now, my sound want to act a funky. So bear with me as I get my sound pulled up. I'm still learning how to work my new HP computer. But there we are. We're going to start that over to the beginning. Okay.
Another civil lawsuit alleging sexual assault as his team pushes for the judge to disclose the names of the accusers in his sex trafficking case. Senior investigative correspondent Aaron Katersky is tracking that case. Good morning, Aaron.
Good morning to you, George. To fulfill his sexual desires, federal prosecutors have said Sean Combs abused, threatened, and coerced multiple women. He's now asking a judge to order prosecutors to identify them. Combs has pleaded not guilty to racketeering, conspiracy, and sex trafficking charges, and his lawyers say he needs the names of the alleged victims so he can prepare a defense. Anonymous allegations, the lawyers say, have created a hysterical media circus that deprived Mr. Combs of a fair trial. The music mogul's latest accuser is identified. Her name is Ashley Parham, and she's alleging in a new civil lawsuit that Combs arranged her gang rape as payback for accusing him in the murder of rapper Tupac Shakur.
Okay, we've heard about this through the vlogs. If y'all follow the Diddy case through the vlogs, this has already been, updated. However, it's now updated to the news.
Combs'
to the
legal team did
mainstream
not
media.
respond directly to these new allegations, but referred us to earlier statements calling these claims false and absurd, guys.
So
All right,
that
Aaron,
means
thank you.
that it has now gone into the real, courts for claim of assault. Okay. So hold on, we're gonna go back. And
welcome to TMZ Live. Harvey Levin here. Charles here. There are another series of lawsuits that have just been filed.
Tune in to
against
TMZ.
Diddy. 7 of them, to be exact. Several involve minors, but the new thing
This is updated as of yesterday from TMZ.
Have been named in these lawsuits, named in connection with these freak-offs.
Right, that they are alleged involvement of other celebrities. A total of 5 lawsuits filed in federal court and 2 in New York State. And one of them does mention 2 celebrities that were involved in, according to this lawsuit, a rape, a drugging of a young woman who says that she was 13 at the time, but that there were, not only was she in this suit, she alleges, raped by Diddy, but while 2 celebrities.
I apologize, my son is kind of, there we go,
watching
from my window.
Diddy commit that rape,
But there we
and
are.
then
Y'all can
one
see
of the
Harvey
celebrities
Levin.
actually raped her as well.
Now, what is interesting about this case
And
is
his
that they are not
culprit.
naming the celebrities. They are listed as
Celebrity 1,
Celebrity 1, and
two.
Celebrity 2. There is a reason behind that, and it's something we're actually doing a 3rd Diddy documentary.
Oh!
We're really
I've
diving
covered
deep
the
into
first
this issue,
2.
which is
I want to cover them on my Facebook Live. Y'all know I be busy, but let's listen in to Harvey Levin. Diddy lost
contacted
suits
celebrities
hit with new
who have
sexual
been
assault
in
lawsuits.
these freak-offs over the years, because we're talking 20 years, and they are contacting them saying that either you were
That's not a
there, you
toy.
watched, you participated, and there are settlements that we're told are going down right now where celebrities, whether they feel they did anything right or wrong, they just don't want their names connected with this, and they're settling these already. So this has become a big thing in a swirl in the middle of all of these lawsuits.
Yeah, you know, we've been thinking about this for a long time, ever since we found out that that the feds had seized all of the videotapes that had allegedly been taken within the Diddy's homes during the freak-offs, and the possible threat that was to other people who were there, whether or not they were doing anything illegal or not. This is another sort of pillar of that offense against potential celebrities who were involved in these activities, again, whether legal or illegal. Now they're being named, although currently kept anonymous, but it's eventually would have to come out if the lawsuits proceed. There's a great threat. These celebrities are going to be named, and, you know, they know who they are if they were involved. I'm sure it's terrifying.
Well, Dave Chasen, we should also say that there's a strategy with the lawyers representing these alleged victims, that there's a reason they didn't name these celebrities. They could have easily just named them, right?
Yeah, once the names are out there, the settlement value goes way down because the allegations are what they fear. So as long as the names are kept quiet for now, the settlement value is much higher.
So this is code for a strategy that's being used all over the place right now.
Right. Which is not to speak to, we're not speaking to the whether or not the allegations are true or not, but the fact of the matter is, regardless of whether they're true, if you're the celebrity involved, you don't want your name out there. So
exactly.
If you are getting one of these demand letters, how do you handle this? What happens in Hollywood? Celebs turn to crisis managers, and then they've got to figure out
They
the
should have
strategy.
had their draws
Joining us
down
right
there
now
when they knew
is
draws
Evan
was
Neerman.
down there,
He
wasn't
is
supposed to be
a
down
longtime
right
PR
where they was.
crisis manager
They
here in
should have had their
Hollywood, has his
draws
own
down.
firm, Red Banyan, and he is joining us right now. Evan, welcome to TMZ Live.
Hey, Evan.
Hi there. Thanks for having me, guys.
So I would think in your world,
if I
all
walk
of
up in
these
somewhere and there's a
demand
bunch of
letters
bullshit
that are
going on,
going out,
especially what I've heard about going on at
We're
these
not
parties,
speaking to Evan
I'm
because
calling
we
the
have any
police,
knowledge
first of all.
anyone he represents being involved in these lawsuits, but we wanted to get his take on it.
So, you know,
like, look at the
Evan,
time.
I've been around a long
You know,
time.
they just got, I just got the part in a new movie. Gotta go.
This has been going on for a
Gotta
long time, right?
go.
Yeah, I think you guys described it pretty well. This is part of a strategy, and there's clearly a PR and a communications way of going about this that's tied into what they want to be both the legal and the financial outcome. So it's not an accident, and I agree with the assertion that
got new
the time for
lawsuits.
leverage is before
And he
the
snitching on the
unnamed
CEO of
celebrities
Abercrombie,
are
baby.
outed or their names are become public, even if they're just allegations.
So you know I gotta jump on
So
live
it
and
seems
cover
pretty
it.
clear to me that this whole rollout of the press strategy is meant to support and they're using the media as a tool and seizing on the fact that the allegations are so incredibly salacious and disturbing, and it's a lot to take in.
So if you were
It's a
representing
hot mess is what it
celebrity
is.
who received one of these letters, and let's just say, you know, you received the letter, but then the lawsuit comes out, and it's still anonymous. You're named as Celebrity 1 or Celebrity 2. What's your response at this point?
Look, the best possible outcome is to avoid being named and to avoid having your brand connected with P. Diddy's, because his at this point is completely toxic. I don't think there's any scenario under the sun under which he comes back from this. So if you have the opportunity to settle this and to keep your name out of the headlines, that would be the course that I would advise, and I think most celebrity clients would prefer.
So what you're really saying is, I mean, look, we're talking
Girl, let me light
about
some
civil
sage
lawsuits,
around
and
here
the
for all
only
this
thing you can
Diddy
get out of a
carrying.
civil lawsuit is money. And so, you know, the
Light
criminal
some
side
sage,
is
girl.
very,
He
very
is
different.
cutting up.
But on the civil side, there are way more. I mean, there are hundreds of lawsuits now, and you know that they don't necessarily align with the federal prosecution. So
That
it's
they
a
done found
money
Diddy in the
game
cell
when it comes to
unconscious,
civil.
girl.
And
But he tried to
that's
choke
why
himself.
the plaintiff's lawyers are saying, hey, you settle now or we'll litigate later. And I mean, it's pretty simple what the celebrity's going to do, right?
Absolutely. It's reputational dynamite. You talk about whatever sort of goodwill you've built up from the public, whatever your brand equity is, just being blown to bits just in the release of your name as it relates to this. So
Like
this is
my
undoubtedly an
live,
attempt by
share
the
it.
lawyers on the
New
plaintiff's side
updated
to try to get a
Diddy
settlement
news
for their clients. And you do not want your name, you do not want your brand connected to this in any way, shape, or form. And if there's an exit ramp that involves writing a check, you can rest assured a lot of people are going to choose that route.
Yeah.
You know, Evan, I just wanted to ask you something that we've been talking about for more than 6 months now. The silence that has really, we've noticed, has been so noticeable in Hollywood, that people who we've seen for decades, the people who partied with Diddy, I'm not talking about freak-offs, I'm talking about went to his very
White parties.
public parties, his white parties, and they have said nothing. From a crisis manager point of view, is this something that you would say to your client, look, I know that you were friends with him, I know that you went to his parties. Are they being advised to just avoid this topic
Maybe I
altogether?
got some
With
of
like
that,
maybe
that
3
spread
exceptions,
that they like
nobody has said
on
anything
they toast.
about Diddy, and people who we know Diddy.
I think it speaks to a strategy of being afraid to even get close to this because his brand is so toxic that no matter what you're saying, whether you're saying, first of all, I don't think anybody, including his former friends, are going to be saying nice things about him right now. But people who want to distance themselves, even the act of now speaking out, it's a self-perpetuating cycle. And you've had so few people saying anything that the moment you come out and you introduce yourself into the Diddy controversy, you're putting a lot of damage on yourself and there's no real upside. And so I think a lot of people are taking a wait and see approach and they're hoping to keep themselves out of this to the maximum extent possible.
And that leads me to the last question, which is hoping to leave themselves out to the greatest extent possible. There's a federal prosecution where the feds have seized videos involving these freak-offs. And you know, in one of our documentary that is coming up, you know, we spoke to somebody who said there were more than 100 people at the one she was at, and 4 celebrities that she knew of, and so it must panic a lot of people in Hollywood that they may play these videos in open court, and even if a celebrity isn't engaging in the misconduct that they're alleging against Diddy, just being there in the middle of what they're seeing.
Oh, collateral damage.
Yeah, it's going to be devastating.
When you're talking about allegations involving drugging and raping
Thank you.
men
We're
and women,
grown. We are
this
all
is the most toxic
adults.
stuff imaginable. And so
You
I'm
shouldn't
not
have been there in the
surprised
first
that no one
place.
wants to be connected to this. I think we have not yet seen the other shoe drop. My prediction is you're going to see a lot of celebrities who, even though they're doing the best that they can to avoid this topic, ultimately there are going to be other people named, even if they just were there, present, not necessarily that they engaged in any alleged conversation or the alleged actions. Just wait. There's going to be a lot more to come on this topic. You guys are going to be very busy for a long time, I suspect.
Yeah. Okay, Evan.
You're right.
We so appreciate you coming on.
Good to talk with you.
Thank you.
You know, when you were out last week,
I hate to be kept busy on the nature of the matter, but what needs to be done needs to be done. So we are here for it. Bless bestie.
Yeah, what he said was, I missed
Keep
the
your
days
eyes
of
and
the dating
ears
parties.
open. Keep your
And he didn't
soul
mean
as
break
pure
but it
as you
still
possibly
came across
can.
like you were completely tone deaf, and you get the
Because
backlash,
this
which is why
is a lot of
better to say
serious
nothing.
I get it.
Yeah.
unnatural things
All right,
going on.
When we come back, Liam Payne's autopsy and toxicology results now coming back. What police are saying they found in his system. There were drugs involved, they're saying, and a lot of them.
Okay, so we're covering some Diddy stuff, right? Let's go over what we just heard. Bless besties. Thank you for tuning in to Tanisha Talks Teas on this Tuesday afternoon. I'm coming in from Golden, Colorado. Where all are you guys listening at? Drop your looks in the comments. So basically what we just heard about Diddy is there is a new girl, Amber, I think her name was. I learned about Amber from the vlogs. Her lawsuit is very, very insanely crazy. So, you know, it's a lot that is going into the new lawsuit. Where he was, you know, assaulting her with objects. There were people that were there, alleged that, you know, gang art her and of the sort, because she spoke to Diddy. I believe they are saying on a FaceTime that it was referencing him killing Tupac. And so Diddy tracked her down, the basics of the lawsuit, tracked her down, R-worded her with the gang of men, other men. She managed to fight him off, something of the sort, with a knife. He was running down the street. I don't know how much I wholeheartedly believe this new lawsuit. There's a lot of far-fetching in it. But nonetheless, Diddy has put himself in a situation where they're going to be falling out of the woodwork to put any and everything on Diddy. So I want us to stick to the things that we believe will be factually based upon what's proven by real victims. I'm not saying that she's not one. I just really want to see how that comes about with facts, right? Nonetheless, there's going to be, you know what I'm saying, evidence that is going to be introduced by the feds, Homeland Security, on these 90 terabytes of evidence that they seized from Diddy's home, right? And they're going to be introducing this in his trial. So let's not allow ourselves to be so clouded by, you know, the really, oh my God, because of course there's going to be, oh my gosh, shock values, right? In such cases what Diddy's got going on. But we don't want to be clouded with that and letting the actual factual stuff that's really the most important things that will or will not be, you know, however introduced into this trial, judge cloud our judgment on, you know, whether or not we believe these should be convicted or not. You see what I'm saying? Because when you're like, oh my God, he R-worded her with the remote control, and then she got a knife. Like, all of it is very, very insanely wild, and we don't want those type of allegations to overcrowd and cloud our real, true understanding of what these charges are, the real ones and the real victims are. You know, to not see the truth and we see, you know, nothing but into the bullshit. Okay, so now they're talking about Liam Payne. Liam Payne from One Direction died from plummeting from a window, I believe in Amsterdam, in somewhere. Where was he? He was out of the country.
Have said, they use the word jumped, that he jumped from that balcony.
We'll get into what that means in a minute. But
Right.
what they found in his system is shocking.
An incredible cocktail of different drugs. They say that the toxicology results have yielded, talking about cocaine, crack, also something they call pink cocaine, which is really this combination of amphetamines, cocaine, ketamine, MDMA, all
The
of that.
stuff that Diddy
anxiety prescription drugs in his system.
So Liam Payne had crack, cocaine, ketamine, pink cocaine, which is what Diddy was found to have had on his person when he was arrested in New York, right? Was the pink cocaine, right? Okay, so Liam Payne from One Direction that plummeted from a window overseas, his toxicology test revealed that that is what all he had in his system.
And you could imagine that the entire cocktail effect of all of these drugs could have put him into some sort of psychotic episode or hallucinogenic state that could have led to this result.
And so, I think it's important to say this, that the Argentinian authorities are saying that he jumped from the hotel balcony. Now, we don't know whether that's based on video. They have surveillance video in the hotel, whether it's witness accounts. We don't know. They haven't said. But even if that's true, that he jumped,
when you know that he's on all those drugs,
that does not mean he was trying to take his life.
Right.
That could mean that he's hallucinating, and there's certainly evidence of that by the staffer who found him in the hotel lobby and was so alarmed.
Right, when they called 911. Remember, the words they used, that this person was in and out of consciousness and was clearly on the suffering from...
I'm gonna pause it now right there. If he was reported to be found, this Liam Payne from One Direction that sorrowfully lost his life last week from a hotel window in Argentina, he was found in the lobby, lethargic, in and out of consciousness, appeared to be impaled by, you know, the use of something. Why was he not then at that moment? His life seemed to me could have been spared. His life could have been saved. But we're going to keep listening.
The effects of either alcohol or drugs or both. And now, based on the toxicology, it seems that it's both. The police also said that they found several bottles of alcohol in the room, as well as the paraphernalia that was used to actually ingest these drugs. You see that, they say that tube you see there is a foil, a makeshift pipe used to smoke some of these drugs.
Yeah, I think this does start to paint a picture that he was heavily under the influence. I think initial reports were that maybe this was a fall, but if you see the balcony doesn't really lend any credence to the idea that he fell. There is a guardrail there. Something happened where he was in a state of either hallucinating
He
or
was
just
very
psychotic
high
episode of some
up,
sort.
like
it's very, very sad, though.
So
yeah,
over the
it's
weekend,
you know
there were a lot
obvious
of
why he
celebrities
died
who,
from the fall. He was
paid homage
not on a
to
lower level
Liam,
floor.
people who knew him
He
very
was on a
well.
very
Yeah,
high
one
level
of those,
floor
Shawn
of the
Mendes,
hotel.
who was performing at a concert this weekend, but took time to talk about Liam and to send up some prayers, not only for him.
Okay, so we're gonna leave it there. That is a little tidbit on Liam Payne from One Direction. He died with one of the said substances to be peak cocaine. And now we know, bless besties, that Diddy was found with that said substance on his person when he was arrested in New York a couple weeks back. About 3 weeks now, Diddy's been incarcerated at the Manhattan, I think is it in Manhattan, New York? In a jail in New York, okay? So he was said to have had that on his person, right? When he was arrested, they called that the pink cocaine. So Liam Payne was found with it in his system in Argentina. Okay, so let that sink in our spirit and know that this pink cocaine is something that we need to be aware of going around like fentanyl. Okay, so that is something that was found on Diddy when Diddy was arrested. Okay, let me see if they are giving any more updates about Diddy. Okay. I do know about Elon Musk talking about giving away $51 million a day to registered voters that are agreeing to vote for Trump. We'll talk about that when we do our political politicking tea talk. We'll talk about that when we do our political politicking. Okay. So that was TMZ's take on some Diddy stuff. Let's see.
Did you ever wonder how Kim Kardashian has such
What
a flat
else is
midsection?
going on
Now,
and
you have-
about
it's not
Diddy?
just
I know
genetics.
some bloggers that I watch.
New lawsuits and more
Okay, here's
allegations
some
of
stuff
rape,
here.
sexual assault, and sexual harassment against jailed music mogul Sean Diddy Combs. And we want to warn you, some of the details of this story are disturbing. Combs is currently awaiting trial next year on federal charges of racketeering, conspiracy, and sex trafficking. He denies any wrongdoing. But one plaintiff alleges she was drugged and raped by Combs at a party after the MTV Video Music Awards in 2000, when she claims she was just 13 years old. The accuser says a limo driver who allegedly worked for Combs invited her to an after party, telling her Combs liked younger girls and she fit what Diddy was looking for. When she arrived at the party, she says she felt woozy and lightheaded and needed to lie down after having just one drink. That's when the girl says she was raped while Combs watched. Attorneys for Combs did not respond to specific allegations in the new lawsuits, but referred to a previous statement that Mr. Combs has never sexually assaulted anyone.
A new wave of civil lawsuits filed against Sean Diddy Combs on October 20th accused the rapper of alleged sexual abuse, with one suit claiming the rapper allegedly drugged and raped a 13-year-old girl. The allegations go as far back as the year 2000, but most of the alleged events took place in 2022 in New York, Los Angeles, and Las Vegas. Per the documents obtained by Access Hollywood, none of the plaintiffs are identified by name, but 4 are male and 3 are female, with one victim claiming they were 17 at the time and another claiming they were 13. In one suit, a woman who claims she was 13 at the time alleges Combs raped and drugged her at a VMA's after party in the year 2000. She claims she got into one of his parties and upon arrival, she was asked to sign a non-disclosure agreement and alleges she was drugged. In the suit, she detailed the alleged incident, claiming Combs and an unnamed, quote, male and female celebrity entered the room she was in, and as Combs approached her, he had, quote, crazed look in his eyes before saying, "You are ready to party." The suit goes on to claim that an unnamed male celebrity allegedly raped the teen while Combs and an unnamed female celebrity watched, before Combs allegedly raped
An
her.
unnamed
The other two female accusers
celebrity,
alleged Combs
male
raped them
and
after
female,
drugging them, and one of the two
watched.
male
Unnamed
accusers
at
also
this
alleges he was
point.
drugged and sexually assaulted by Combs and an unnamed celebrity. Combs' team denied the allegations, saying in a statement,
R-worded a
quote,
teenager
"Mr.
is
Combs
what
has
is
never
being
sexually
alleged
assaulted anyone,
here
adult or
now.
minor, man or
While
woman."
two celebrities,
The new lawsuit comes after
three
the now
celebrities
disgraced rapper
watched.
was arrested on September 16th on sex trafficking charges in New York. He is also facing felony charges of racketeering, conspiracy,
Now
and
we can only
transportation
speculate
to engage
who
in
that
prostitution.
can be.
The rapper pleaded
Y'all
not
drop
guilty and
some
his arraignment, and
comments,
his
names in
attorney
the comments
previously
of
shut
who
down
y'all
the
think
allegations against his
these
client,
celebrities
saying in a
are
statement that he and
that
his
took
team
it
are,
upon
quote,
themselves to
disappointed with the
watch
decision
an
to
R-word
pursue
of a
what he believes is an
teenager.
unjust prosecution of
Who
Mr.
do you
Combs.
guys
He
believe?
also continues to face several.
Who do you guys believe would be that egregiously, salaciously, maliciously, nasty, dirty, vile, soulless corpse ass celebrity that would do that? Y'all drop any names y'all believe that could possibly be in the comments, okay? While we keep listening.
Other civil lawsuits.
Okay, so y'all just heard that from Access. Really great up-to-date Diddy stuff, right? So Diddy has now gotten, said to have R-worded a teenager while a couple celebrities watched. Unnamed celebrities at this moment. We don't know who that could be factually. So we are going to, let our thoughts go to who we may believe that could possibly be. Let's listen in. There's so many topics and great up-to-date news about Diddy.
Tumor after using
You can
birth
just
control
jump
shots.
on anywhere.
This is extremely important. I recently learned.
This is the type of indictment you would expect from someone in the mob.
So here's an insert from the TMZ.
To tell his story.
They're going to show that video over and over and over about what happens to women that won't change their stories.
His reputation is over.
The United States government, they start making this case as a takedown of a successful black man.
TMZ presents The Downfall of Diddy, the indictment, now streaming on Tubi. These demand letters are not unique to Diddy. This has been going on for a long time, right?
This is part of a strategy, and there's clearly a PR and a communications way of going about this that's tied into what they want to be both the legal and the financial outcome. So it's not an accident, and I agree with the assertion that the time for
celebrities are, going into flight or fight. A lot of them are looking to flight. They do not want to fight said potential arguments against them. So they are looking to settle before they are implemented into this Diddy hell.
Is before the unnamed celebrities are outed or their names are become public, even if they're just allegations. So it seems pretty clear to me that this whole rollout of the press strategy is meant to support and they're using the media as a tool and seizing on the fact that the allegations are so incredibly salacious and disturbing, and it's a lot to take in.
Let's just say, you received the letter, but then the lawsuit comes out and it's still anonymous. You're named as Celebrity 1 or Celebrity 2. What's your response at this point?
The best possible outcome is to avoid being named and to avoid having your brand connected with P. Diddy's, because his at this point is completely toxic. I don't think there's any scenario under the sun under which he comes back from this. So if you have the opportunity to settle this and to keep your name out of the headlines, that would be the course that I would advise, and I think most celebrity clients would prefer.
It's a money game when it comes to civil, and that's why the plaintiff's lawyers are saying, hey, you settle now or we'll litigate later. And I mean, it's pretty simple what the celebrity's going to do, right?
Absolutely. It's reputational dynamite. You talk about whatever sort of goodwill you've built
And
up
I mean,
from the
it's
public,
only
whatever your brand.
unfortunate. Let me talk time in. It's only unfortunate that the celebrity had their lives intertwined into the shenanigans of hell that Diddy was tying his life into. Us as conscionable people, you know, when you see something that's not right, like someone R-wording a child or someone R-wording a person, you know, you don't say, oh, that's just so-and-so. You say, no, consciously, you say, no, that's wrong. I should call the police and get this person arrested. But if you didn't do that, then you, of course, should do whatever you can do to make sure that you right your morally soul by now doing the right thing. Okay?
And equity is just being blown to bits just in the release of your name as it relates to this. So this is undoubtedly an attempt by the lawyers on the plaintiff's side to try to get a settlement for their clients. And, you know, one of the things that I think we're seeing as a byproduct of everything involving Diddy is you have allegations coming out of the woodwork against a whole range of celebs at this point, many of which are trying to tie the target of their lawsuit to the behavior of Diddy, which I think there's the fundamental difference between someone who's been indicted on multiple counts and is currently being imprisoned versus someone for whom there's just an allegation. But again, you do not want your name, you do not want your brand connected to this in any way, shape, or form. And if there's an exit ramp that involves writing a check, you can rest assured a lot of people are going to choose that route.
It must panic a lot of people in Hollywood that they may play these videos in open court. And even if a celebrity isn't engaging in the misconduct that they're alleging against Diddy, just being there in the middle of what they're seeing.
And that goes back to understanding that you have a moral compass. If you decide to continue to align it with someone that is doing something, you know, unconscionably, however you say that, unthinkable to a person, you have the moral obligation to, you know, help that situation. You see what I'm saying? By saying, no, I'm not going to stick around and watch this situation or be in another room doing anything or be anywhere around on the premises of where this is happening. I'm going to, you know, back myself out of this situation, call somebody that will give a damn, especially being another celebrity. You see what I'm saying? And prevent this from happening and occurring. So I don't give a damn if they march in the president. You see what I'm saying? And he was somewhere standing around. Biden was somewhere standing, well, you know, former still president, because there's not even a president right now, right? We don't even have a president in the United States of America right now. Not for nothing. Okay? If it's the president of the United States, if they have to be marched into court because they were somewhere around a situation where they knew and saw somebody being, you know, criminally hurt, then they should be marched into court. Okay, because we all have moral compasses to direct us and guide us in the way that we're gonna go. Either you're gonna go turn a blind eye, or you're gonna, you know, turn in the face of protectiveness and protect humanity from this shit happening.
Talk about collateral damage.
Yeah, it's going to be devastating.
When you're talking about allegations involving drugging and raping men and women, this is the most toxic stuff imaginable. And so I'm not surprised that no one wants to be connected to this. I think,
unfortunately, if you are aligned in the space where this is happening, you have a moral obligation to protect somebody in a situation like that. And if you don't, then you also become liable for whatever the fallout is in the matter of somebody being assaulted, hurt, however that person's being hurt in that moment. That's like if 3 people rob a bank. One person's the driver, one person's the shooter, one person is the person putting the money in the bag. But somebody gets shot and killed. In some states, everybody is liable for the murder of the person that got murdered in a criminal activity. Okay? So I don't understand why Diddy, the people surrounding Diddy, the people that knew that were surrounding in Diddy's after dark parties, torture parties, I'm calling them torture parties, okay, knew what was going on and they did nothing, right, are not also being held to be made to have some type of enforcement against them for not doing what was morally and lawfully correct. No, I'm busy. Thank you. Not doing what was morally and lawfully right to protect the innocent in a situation. Go play, because you see I'm busy. Go play. Now. Thank you. Okay. Get your toys. Ella, go get your toys. Thank you. Right? With that being said, of course, my baby wants to be on live. She loves doing lives. But right now is not the life for her to engage in as we're talking about these matters of, Sean Puffy Combs. So, Elladora, I'd like for you to keep out my room while I'm doing this. When I'm done, you can come back in my room, okay? Go play. Thank you. Okay. That's where I am with that. Y'all tell me where y'all are with that. We can talk about it. We're going to time back in now to this conversation.
Not yet seen the other shoe drop. My prediction is you're going to see a lot of celebrities who, even though they're doing the best that they can to avoid this topic, ultimately there are going to be other people named, even if they just were there, present, not necessarily that they engaged in any alleged conversation or the alleged actions. Just wait. There's going to be a lot more to come on this topic. You guys are going to be very busy for a long time, I suspect.
Okay.
You've gone too far.
Now, that's an update on just, where they are with as far as where Diddy's at and celebrities and, what they're looking like, what they're doing. So, please give me 1 minute, y'all. Okay, I gotta get my family together. It seems like whenever I'm on live talking about something important to my tea talk, blessed besties, then all of a sudden I am the hottest attraction in the house. But when I'm doing nothing, nobody wants to, really bother me like that. So I had to get them together. So back to what we are talking about, okay? We listened to that one, where Sean Diddy Combs faces 7 additional lawsuits, including rape of a teenage girl. Let's see. Okay. I really like Sean Atwood. So let's go ahead and give him a listen.
And here's my theory on this. I think
How long has he been on? Because I may just rewind.
He didn't have an idea
24
just what an avalanche
minutes.
this was going to be. I mean, when you get arrested, and
Bombshell
they take you
leak Diddy phone calls.
to prison, you probably assume, you know what?
Let's go ahead and rewind him while I get my daughter together because she's trying to be a brat. Okay, take a listen.
Fascinating to me, and the way that
Okay.
the way that I got it, it's hard to
Turn
tell
that
whether or
around.
not this thing is a call made
Set
on a
that up
prison
so y'all can
phone,
see.
or whether or not this is two guys sitting across from each other. You know how you visit in, especially in like a county jail, because as much as we call this prison, it's not in person, right? I mean, this is MDC Brooklyn, so they're on the national diet. I mean, the national menu, so they're all eating the same garbage that they would be in the feds. They're wearing the same clothing, right? All that stuff, but since they haven't been to court yet, they're really just in a federal county jail, right? That's really where they are. So a lot of times you go in to visit and you're sitting between a pane of glass and you pick up a phone and the person on the other side picks up a phone. Those are all recorded as well. And I kind of have a feeling that that's where this came from. It's a gut feeling. I could be wrong. But the background noise in this, like you've been in the shoe. If he was in the shoe, the bean slot would drop. Right, the food slot that they pass the food through, and you take the little phone. You know how that works, and you got to dial it up. So all of the sound in the shoe comes through that bean slot. You know, the food trap. Like maybe they should have thought of that. By the way, all of these calls do end up in you know, people are like, how is this possible? I'm telling you that every phone call that this cat makes over the time that he's incarcerated, we're gonna have a shot at over time. That's just how it works, because these places have services. Like, you remember how much money you had to pay when you were locked up to make a phone call on the prepaid? It's the BOP isn't handling that, right? There's a company that comes in. Well, that company is collecting all kinds of data, and they've found ways to you know, disseminate it to people that want to pay big money for it, right? I mean, there's a lot of people that want to hear, you know, you've probably seen some of the guys doing content on the Wade Wilson calls. I mean, all of them. You can get all of it.
Yeah, that's not it, folks. There's tons more to come. We're just getting
Tons
started as well. Does that mean a staff member's leaked it, or the person at the other end has leaked it?
These things basically can be FOIA. There's a lot of ways you can get this. Like every single call.
So we're gonna get to the leaked part. Okay.
Oops, let's see what happens here. This is file 4, I believe. Let's have a look.
So we got Tea Talkers live with Tanisha Talks, Tease, Bless Besties, Sean Atwood, bombshell leaked Diddy phone calls. Okay, he's doing an exclusive and exclusive right now with Tommy Schofield. Okay, we're gonna listen in right now. Get y'all's asses into Tanisha Talks Tease right now. Listening to Diddy's phone calls leaked from jail.
All the leftover pizza boxes. The what? All the boxes left over from the pizza. All the boxes.
Wow. I'm going to play that one again because I can't believe my ears. 1 second.
You might want to play that twice.
I'm going to need you to get rid of all the leftover pizza boxes. The what? All the boxes left over from the pizza. All the boxes.
Good grief. What is your interpretation of pizza boxes?
Well, this early on in the I don't want to.
Diddy's talking code.
There's a lot of people. Yeah, that word comes up a lot, and I think that if there's anybody here that doesn't know the references behind this, it's as foul as you can possibly think of, and it's code words for things that, yeah, it's all bad. It's all bad. This is in reference to people that are not old enough to to drive an automobile in most cases, and certainly not old enough to vote. It's really foul, right? And it makes you wonder, right? That, yeah, it's absolutely disturbing, and it's kind of, it's out the gate. And this call it gets more interesting as it goes. I know that it's hard to top that.
We're gonna pause it.
As it goes.
Okay. We just heard breaking with Tanisha Talks Tees. We're listening live in with Sean Atwood, exclusively with Tommy Schofield. Okay. They have leaked audio of Diddy from jail, locked up in New York. Get y'all's asses in here. We're talking tea right now, listening to leaked Diddy phone calls. We just heard an insert from a leaked Diddy phone call. Okay. Right now, real time, someone down to where Diddy is being housed at in New York is leaking Diddy's phone calls. Okay. Diddy is saying to whoever he's speaking with, maybe we'll learn who this is as we continue to listen in to this leaked Diddy phone calls exclusive with Mr. Atwood and Schofield. Okay. Get rid of the pizza boxes. Mr. Schofield said that is in reference to someone not legally able to drive. Okay. So we're going to continue to listen and see like where about that's at with that. Out, Ella. Thank you. Where that's at with that, like, is that a actual human being under the age of 18? You know, video of it, something, you know, whatever evidence that Diddy wants someone to get rid of, that he's using the cover word pizza boxes, what that means. Let's continue to listen in. We have exclusive Diddy phone calls. Okay, y'all, only over here on Tanisha Talks Tees. Keep staying tuned, blessed besties.
It's very, very disturbing. I think a lot of this is really, really messed up.
Yeah, because we saw, you know, that theory that came around that caused a lot of problems for people on YouTube, the Q theory.
Oh boy.
And that was that terminology was used a lot. Knowing, you know, because that terminology is no longer secret and it is classified as what you are, you know, intimating.
Yeah.
Why would anyone be so stupid as to use that in this day and age when that's already been outed as that word? Do you think?
You know, honestly, the...
Pause. Blessed besties, as we time back in with Tanisha Talking Tea. What is this pizza box shit? I've never heard of it. And I have seen lots of mob movies, watched lots of documentaries about mobs, reality TV shows. Like, I know a lot of the insides of the mob, like, carryings on. I've never heard them use the reference pizza boxes. So, like, where did this come from? Did this come from somebody like an Epstein? Somebody that is a pedophile? Like, where did this word, the reference pizza boxes to get rid of the pizza boxes? If you guys know, time in the comments, tea talk with me, tell me what you know it to be. I'm going to keep listening in because I personally have never heard it. Okay? We got an exclusive Diddy phone calls leaked from jail.
The first person that I listened to this with, that was the first thing they said. You know, there's no way he could be, you know, naive enough to not know that this is out there in the zeitgeist kind of thing. And I thought to myself, I'm not 100% sure of that. I mean, do you think this cat spends an awful lot of time, you know, surfing and doing things like that? I figure from the time he gets up to the time he goes to bed, this dude lived a
I am mortally,
maybe he's
mortified. Like, I'm tongue-tied.
word you were
at
about to
every
say to
single
start
thing
the
that
letter
comes
Q
out with Diddy.
and have
I'm
them
usually
go,
very witty
never heard of it.
with
I mean, I
my
think
words,
that's a distinct
but Diddy is
possibility.
stomping me
There
with
are a lot of
all of
people in
this
society that
crazy
have never heard
hellacious
of
shit.
things like this
Even in my
because
42
you
years
sort of
of
have
life,
to.
I
There are certain
have
circles
not
where this got a lot more
heard of some
traction,
of the
right?
crazy
I mean, it
nonsense
was
wildness that
3
Diddy has
days
done.
in the news cycle in the United States. It didn't get a whole lot more than that because they weren't trying to promote it. You know what I mean? They weren't trying to let it get traction.
I'm suspecting his degree of arrogance as well, thinking that, you know, this
Hubris, right?
Yeah, this is never going to come out online or anything like that. All right, so the next one then. Let me
Listen
go to
in,
that.
blessed besties.
Let's
We
rewind
got
it real quick.
exclusive audio from Diddy
Make sure
behind
you
bars.
recycle the plastic like we talked about. Okay. Make sure you recycle the plastic like we talked about.
All right, viewers. So many of you were able to interpret the pizza thing. Recycling plastic? Come on, help me, folks.
You know,
I have no
there was a
idea.
lot of theories when I talked about this on my channel. I think
When I hear list, is La Lista like the hit list in prison?
zip drive or you had, think about basically anything that you might have data stored on. It's probably plastic. A lot of this is really, really messed up.
Yeah, because we saw, that theory that came around that caused a lot of problems for people on YouTube, the Q theory.
Oh boy.
And that was that terminology was used a lot. Knowing, because that terminology is no longer secret and it is classified as what you were, intimating.
Yeah.
Why would anyone be so stupid as to use that in this day and age when that's already been outed as that word? Do you think?
Honestly, the first person that I listened to this with, that was the first thing they said. There's no way he could be, naive enough to not know that this is out there in the zeitgeist kind of thing. And I thought to myself, I'm not 100% sure of that. I mean, do you think this cat spends an awful lot of time, surfing and doing things like that? I figure from the time he gets up to the time he goes to bed, this dude lived a very different life than us. Maybe he's familiar with all that, but I think you could probably maybe drop that word you were about to say that starts with the letter Q and have him go, never heard of it. I mean, I think that's a distinct possibility. There are a lot of people in society that have never heard of things like this because you sort of have to. There are certain circles where this got a lot more traction.
Okay.
Right? I mean, it was 3 days in the news cycle in the United States. It didn't get a whole lot more than that because they weren't trying to promote it. You know what I mean? They weren't trying to let it get traction.
I'm suspecting his degree of arrogance as well, thinking that, this
hubris, right?
Yeah, this is never going to come out online or anything like that. All right, so the next one then, let me go to that, and let's rewind it real quick.
Okay. Make sure you recycle the plastic like we talked about. Okay. Make sure you recycle the plastic like we talked about.
All right, viewers, so many of you were able to interpret the pizza thing. Recycling plastic? Come on, help me, folks.
There was a lot of theories when I talked about this on my channel. I think a lot of them were solid. I personally think that a lot of devices that keep data, right? If you had a zip drive or you had, think about basically anything that you might have data stored on. It's probably plastic. And to me, recycling sounds like, yeah, exactly. There you go. USB, storage devices, that kind of stuff. Destroy that, right? Grind it up, do whatever you got. Recycle that stuff. Get it down to recycling.
Diddy knows he's done.
Destroy it.
Let me read what they're putting in the comments then. Yeah, a lot of people saying about the USB sticks.
Yeah, right? I mean, basically anything. If some of the stuff went back, yeah, video cassettes are plastic, CDs, right? DVDs, whatever. All of those things. Plastic baby oil bottles. There's a lot of stuff that. This was probably a little late for the baby oil. Those bottles were outed. Those bottles were outed a while ago.
This is insane, Tommy. I can't believe you've come across this. Let's see. There's the next one then. YouTube. That's number 6. Let's rewind it.
Did you reach out yet? Nah, Bob. You ghosting. This motherfucker doing? These things tweeting out because I'm in here. It's all good. You about to get out on bail.
Did Jay reach out yet? Not the Jay that I'm thinking.
Right? Now here's the deal. You know, almost everybody on planet Earth that is going to...
Diddy just asked, okay, right? Did Jay reach out yet? Y'all, we got exclusive. I cannot believe this. We got exclusive audio from Diddy behind bars right now with Tanisha Talks Tea. We are listening, y'all, to exclusive Diddy phone calls from behind bars, right? So we heard him say something about get rid of the pizza boxes. We're hopefully going to learn about what that is. If not, from this, we're going to research it and see what we can come up with, okay? And then 2, get rid of the recycled plastic, like recycle the plastic. So from one's understanding, we would think he's talking about like the physical evidence on, you know, USBs, flash drives, computers, phones, whatever, okay? Now he's talking about, okay, listen close.
That's number 6. Let's rewind it.
Did you reach out yet? Nah, Bob. You ghosting. This motherfucker doing? These things tweeting out because I'm in here. It's all good. You about to get out on bail.
Did y'all hear that?
Jay?
Listen.
CDs?
What's this? Let's see. There's the next one then. YouTube. That's number 6. Let's rewind it.
Did you reach out yet? Nah, Bob. You ghosting. This motherfucker doing? These things tweeting out because I'm in here. It's all good. You about to get out on bail.
Did Jay reach out yet? Not the Jay that I'm thinking.
Right? Now here's the deal.
He's ghosting. That nigga's tweaking because I'm in here. Did Jay reach out yet is what Diddy asks whoever he's talking to on the phone. I'm gonna step out and say it's one of his kids. One of his sons, right? Is who this sounds like. He's having a jail conversation with. It sounds like one of his sons. Okay? Did Jay reach out yet? Nah. That nigga ghosting. Diddy. That nigga tweaking because I'm in here.
On planet Earth that is going to hear this is probably going to assume that that's the Jay he's talking about. I don't know. Can you think of any others? Any other, Jays that? Because you got to. I mean, maybe it's a Jay that's not famous, right? Maybe he's got a dude that lives in the neighborhood that he borrowed a lawnmower from. You know what I mean? Like, a hedge trimmer. He went next door and said, "Hey, you got a tool I can borrow?"
Now, who do you guys, bless besties, who do you think Diddy's talking about? Do you guys think it's somebody that he borrowed a lawnmower from to mow the lawn? Or a Jay that he went on a fishing trip with? Besides the Jay-Z that we know he has been and everybody else has been wondering or inquiring or thinking or however have you, has distanced himself from Sean Puffy Combs since all of this kicked off? Do y'all think it's that Jay -Z? Or do y'all think it's just, another Jay? Who do y'all think he's asking? I think it's his son he's asking, has Jay reached out yet? No, that nigga ghosting. that nigga tweaking because I'm in here. And why would that nigga be tweaking because you're in jail type shit? You see how Diddy's intricately bringing whoever Jay he's talking about into the fold? Because if you were my friend and you went to jail and you're saying you're innocent, and I don't know you to have done these things that they're alleging against you, and you reached out to me, why wouldn't I at least say, hey, bro, like the young folks say, hey, bro, I hear tail down to everything that this is what's going on. What the fuck is going on? I would at least, but whoever Jay he's talking about, Diddy hasn't heard a peep from him. Why? Because he's saying, has Jay reached out? So he don't know, has Jay reached out or not yet, right? I'm going to go on out and say he's talking about Jay-Z. Okay? He's talking about motherfucking Jay-Z, and he's wondering, where is he? And he knows he's tweaking because Diddy is in jail for whatever reasons that would, you know, keep Jay-Z from not reaching the fuck out. Now, I don't know if Diddy's trying to, you know, allude to the fact that, oh, he's tweaking because I'm in here. Like, oh, that nigga's in jail. I'm going to distance myself from Diddy so that, you know what I'm saying? Even if Diddy tries to bring me in the fold, I can be like, nah, I'm not in the fold with that nigga. Like, no type of way. Or is he tweaking because he's somewhere quivering like, I hope Diddy doesn't incriminate me into whatever, you know, he's got going on. Because I've been down to the things with Diddy. I think we're going to be slow walked up to the event of what all this is. Okay? I really do. So let's keep listening.
His name might be Jay. No, I mean, honestly, but in the real world, he might have a few friends named Jay. I don't know that I know anybody named Jay
What that is.
in my life, but maybe he knows a couple.
He's talking about fucking Jay-Z.
A few people in the chat are asking, how do we know that these are not AI generated?
Well, here's the deal. In all honesty,
it's not J-Lo.
Today is not AI generated.
It's not J-Lo. Okay, because J-Lo, why would J-Lo reach out about the shit that Diddy's got going on when the case that involved J-Lo happened eons ago, and that's not something that's presenting its head up in a criminal RICO case? Okay, that was something that was already handled in a civil matter around the time it happened. Diddy paid the lady that he shot in the face, that J-Lo gave the gun to him in the club. Y'all remember that story. Okay, and all of that. That happened decades ago, right? Why would J-Lo reach out? It's not J-Lo. That's not the J he's talking about. Why would J-Lo reach out and be like, oh, Diddy, what can I do to help you in these SA cases? J-Lo's divorcing Ben Affleck, got kids with Mark Anthony since all of these things have happened, going on to be a mega movie star, musician, all of that. Like, why would she reach out to Diddy and be like, let me help you? You know what I'm saying? I don't see it being J-Lo, so.
Right? I mean, truthfully, and full disclosure, right? Here's what I would say. The people that have sent this to me, I caught a lot of crap when I came out and said that the baby oil has got G in it, right? And I didn't catch any crap over here, which was cool because you kept having me back on. But you know something? Everybody now, right? There's no place that you can go. Mainstream media is even talking about the fact that the baby oil was spiked. So
we've covered that as well over here with Tanisha Talks Teas.
That's about as good as I can tell you, right? We did all right last night.
All right, so Tommy has said he's got a good source for this that has served him well in the past. Of course, we cannot guarantee anything. There's no such thing as a guarantee in this life.
Absolutely.
But we are doing our best to bring this information to you, and you can all form your own judgments. It does sound pretty realistic to me. So we're going to go over to the next one, and we just bring this one back a little bit. Here we go.
Everybody out there quiet as more. Yeah, exactly. We gonna let them have their little fun, but I'm still gonna have the last laugh.
Let me play that again.
Everybody out there quiet as more. Yeah, exactly. We gonna let them have their little fun, but I'm still gonna have the last laugh.
All right, what's he saying there?
You know something? I think that there's a lot of people that believe this guy is has probably at least tried to keep an ace up his sleeve. If you think about how long he had to get prepared for getting arrested, right? Honestly, it's kind of amazing because they, if we told you this at a later date, it would sound ridiculous. It would sound like we're making it up, right? But he got sued in November of last year on a case that he had to know once it was out into the world, he was going to get charged with stuff, right? There's no other way around it. He had to know that was coming. Before that, a couple of years before that, she had reached out to him, right? So he's known this is coming for a really, really long time. And it keeps getting back to the hubris. It keeps getting back to the fact that this guy, if he's recorded everything for every day he's been on planet Earth, and he kind of brags about the fact that since becoming Diddy, right, since starting this whole adventure, his entire life's on film, right? We know that all of his houses were wired for sound. It's I don't think it's a stretch to think that he's got a head stash of some really ugly stuff on some people, and if he's got it, right, if he's got that stuff. And I think when you listen to the rest of this call, I don't know, you can interpret it any way you want, but it seems to me that...
and he sounded quite confident in one of those that he was going to get out
JoJo's
of bail.
correct. What's that? Yeah, you know what? It is his son was confident that he was going to get out of bail. I think Dad was a little more reserved, but his kid definitely thought he was going to be getting out on bail.
Hope shines eternal, doesn't it, for the new arrestee and his family members?
Well, you know what, and it's what keeps you alive. You know, I had a friend that used to ride ambulance. Right, he was like a paramedic, and he said that often they would go out to work a call, and the person, an older gentleman, may have been deceased for an hour and a half, but they would do CPR on the guy anyway, so that everybody in the house kind of gets the ability to drive all the way down to the hospital thinking that there's a chance, and it's that, you know what I mean? It's not the brick wall. And I think this is one of those situations as well. You know what I mean? When you first get in there, you're really pipe dreaming for so much stuff, and if you don't, you're going to end up running headwards into a brick wall and going massively insane. You have to have a little hope that springs from every filing, and every time you go to court, a little bit of hope, because you'll go nuts. It's a very tough environment while you're waiting to be sentenced or waiting to go to trial. It's tough.
Yeah, the hope runs all the way through the pre-sentence period, and then the final pipe dream, once you're sentenced, is the appeal.
Well, that's not the final, but yeah, the absolute final is you're going to get a year and a half of halfway. So they're going to kick you down the most time you can possibly get, because you do get, in the feds, you get some time off of your sentence at the very end of it. And you could get, theoretically, up to 18 months. Nobody on earth has ever gotten 18 months, but theoretically, it could happen. I've never seen it happen. Most people just get 6. But hope, you tell your family, if I get 18, I'll be home by Christmas. Yeah. You're lucky to be home by the following Christmas.
All right, next one. There we go. New tab.
We're gonna pause it before they get to the next Diddy audio. thank you guys with all of your support. Like, I really want to thank all of my blessed besties for supporting Tanisha Talks These Teas, right? I love being over here on Facebook. My following is growing such a great amount, especially since I've been back up on talking Diddy mess, right? So thank you all for continuing to support everything that you do, like following, commenting, sharing. I'm going to go into my archives and I'm going to dig up some comments that you guys have asked questions about and commented on Diddy. We're going to talk about that. So the last audio. Okay, first let's just make sure we keep everybody up to speed. So we're covering all new exclusive tea with Diddy, right? Diddy's got like 15 lawsuits that we know of now, maybe even 20, that are rooted into real lawsuits. Okay, there's like thousands of them hanging in the balance that could potentially form into lawsuits, but we know of for sure to be about 20 plus lawsuits that are really real lawsuits that they feel have the validity, to go all the way to settlements. Okay, so that's one. Two, we've heard that Diddy is behind bars snitching on the CEO of Abercrombie. And he was recently, as of like today or yesterday, arrested for sex trafficking. Allegedly, Diddy knocked on the CEO of Abercrombie. Okay. And now Tanisha Talks Teas, right? Y'all know who is the best blessed bestie for this tea talk right now. Okay. It is moi. We have exclusive audio from behind bars where Diddy is incarcerated at, of him, leaked audios, bitches, leaked audios, okay, of his conversation. We believe it may be his son. Now, the source that's bringing it to us is Mr. Tommy Schofield over on Mr. Atwood's channel on YouTube. Go check him out. I love him. You know, his show is really, you know, informative and just, you know, all factual, actual understanding of what it is to be. It's not a whole lot of like, you know, thoughts and opinions thrown into it. It's the thoughts and opinions hinging on, you know, what's really realistic coming down the pike with Sean Puffy Combs. Okay. So I really like his show. And so I'm glad that I found it. I'm bringing it to you guys. He's bringing us an exclusive, so I'm bringing it to my Facebook blessed besties. We are talking tea, timing in with Mr. Atwood and Schofield exclusive Diddy audio. Okay, so next clip he's playing now.
Hey, yo, check this out. Need you to reach out to the producer. Let these motherfuckers know there's a release date for that new Netflix movie. Alright, Pop. It's just crazy right now.
Try that again.
No. Hey, yo, check this out. Need you to reach out to the producer.
Who do you think the producer is, Tommy?
I'll be honest with you, I don't have an idea. I really don't. There, in the last, when in my chat last time, people started to take some guesses. Clive Davis, I think, was most people's favorite vote on the live feed that I did. I don't know. I really don't. But to me, this sounds like a threat, right? To me, yeah. See, a lot of people were saying Clive Davis, and I think it's probably pretty decent. Well, a lot of people said that too, but I don't think. I mean, there's nothing he's going to do to stop that freight train, right? I mean, that Netflix has already paid. I just think this is code. I think the reference to Netflix, he could have picked Hulu, he could have picked anybody, but he picked Netflix. But I could be wrong. I don't think it's. I think it's a threat. Tell them if they don't, right? He's bummed out. You know, Jay, whoever isn't, he's ghosting him. He's unhappy.
All right, we're going to time back in over here with Tanisha Talks Teas from the last audio clip. Exclusively, we're listening to Diddy audio leak from jail right now. Y'all get in here. We are listening to exclusive audio from Diddy right now behind bars. He just said to get rid of. Let's listen to it again, guys.
I really don't, but to me this sounds like a threat, right?
All right, next one. There we go. View tab.
Hey, yo, check this out. Need you to reach out to the producer, let these motherfuckers know there's a release date for that new Netflix movie. Alright, Pop. It's just
okay.
Crazy right now.
Try that again.
No. Hey, yo, check.
Okay, we timed out for a second, guys. We are on the audio of Diddy clips from Leaked from Jail exclusively with Tanisha Talks Teas. Thanks for blessing me, my besties, with listening to our tea talk time.
Hey, yo, check this out. Need you to reach out to the producer, let these motherfuckers know there's a release date for that new Netflix movie. Alright, Pop.
Okay, so Diddy said, reach out to the Netflix producers because there is a release date. Now, tea talkers, I watched an interview with 50 Cent. We do know through you know, the buzzing of the bees and the birds that 50 Cent has said that he was doing a Netflix special, period, right? A documentary on Diddy. Now, I saw an interview with Diddy, with 50 Cent saying that that was definitely a thing. He is putting out a documentary on Netflix about Diddy. Okay? So, I don't know as of current because I haven't heard anything. You know, when 50 Cent speaks, like, a lot of people are, you know, on it because he's something like a troll, they say. Like, 50 is, like, you know, always somewhere trolling in the things to comment on them and things like that, keeping shit hot and popping with his nose up in the middle of everybody's business, and we love him for it. Like 50 Cent's a fucking kiki when it comes to just putting himself in other people's business. I heard, you know, 50 Cent say that that was a thing. He's doing a Netflix special on Diddy. However, that it was still in the making of the special. Diddy said in this audio clip that's exclusively being leaked from jail, okay, that there is a release date. Now, one can say Diddy or 50 has released the date of the Netflix special. We just may not have it as the common folk, you know, sitting back waiting on the release of the Diddy documentary done by 50 Cent, because you know we're all gonna tune in to Netflix to watch that one way or the other. Okay, whether you watch it on your own password or you get someone else's password, or you do, or we do like a whole tea talk sit around FaceTime watch type thing, time in on it type thing. However, we are definitely covering the Diddy documentary done by 50. Okay, but the last I heard about from 50, personally from 50 Cent on an interview that he did, he said he was doing one. So that did come from from 50's mouth that it was going to be one. However, at that time of the interview that I watched, which wasn't that long ago, I think maybe a month or two ago, 50 did this interview because he was talking about his studio in Louisiana and everything of the sort. He talked a little bit about Diddy, and this is what he said, that he definitely was putting out a documentary on that nigga. But at that time of that interview, there was not a release date. Diddy said in this recording of him talking with, we want to say his son, right? It does sound like a young man, probably the only young man Diddy really got somewhere, you know what I'm saying, GM for him right now would be one of his sons, right? That he knows there is a release date of a documentary coming out about him on Netflix. Okay, let's listen to it one more time. Mr. Schofield, who's giving us the exclusive Diddy audio leak tapes from jail right now in real time, okay, is saying that there's other people that are talking about putting out Diddy documentaries. Maybe Clive Davis, which used to be a compadre of Diddy. So, I mean, we're just gonna continue to listen in and see, right? So I'm gonna play it again, okay?
Try that again.
Hey, yo, check this out. Need you to reach out to the producer.
Who do you think the producer is, Tommy?
I'll be honest with you, I don't have an idea. I really don't. There, in the last, when in my chat last time, people started to take some guesses. Clive Davis, I think, was most people's favorite vote on the live feed that I did. I don't know. I really don't. But to me, this sounds like a threat, right? To me, yeah. See, a lot of people were saying.
Schofield feels like Puffy is putting out a alert warning to threaten whoever is coming out with a Netflix documentary on him, out to, and let them know that Diddy's sending out a message to not put out a Netflix documentary on him. I mean, TMZ already, they got 2 of them. And I just played an insert from TMZ speaking on it, saying that they're looking to put out a 3rd. So
it's probably decent. Well, a lot of people say,
I cannot believe I got. Okay, my lights keep. I'm not going to restart them. I'm gonna let my internet bring it back up for us, so that we stay on the same live and just go. Okay, we're on go time. We're just gonna keep going.
I think the reference to Netflix, he could have picked Hulu, he could have picked anybody, but he picked Netflix. But I could be wrong. I don't think it's. I think it's a threat. I think it's a threat. Tell them if they don't. Right? He's bummed out. You know, Jay, whoever isn't, he's ghosting him. He's unhappy.
Let me continue that one again.
Let these motherfuckers know there's a Netflix movie. It's just crazy right now.
Netflix movie, yeah, 50 Cent.
Exactly. That is. I want to go out on another limb. Y'all bless besties better catch me if I fall. Okay? I am very wholeheartedly believing that he is throwing that message out to 50 fucking Cent, because I haven't heard anything else trapped. Okay, like I said, internet acting up. I don't see anything else out here circulating around about a Netflix documentary. And then y'all, we're talking about 50 Cent. Like, I don't think 50 Cent would allow anything else to really circulate, you know what I'm saying, around on Netflix besides his stuff that's going to be done about Diddy. I don't see it. You see what I mean? Like, as far as how do you disconnect this? Somebody else in, like, you know, same syndication of when 50 Cent is scheduling to release his Diddy documentary. I don't see anything else, like, you know what I'm saying, circumventing into running neck and neck at the same time on Netflix, being a Diddy documentary. I just don't see it. So I believe that he's talking about 50 fucking Cent. How do I turn this off? Okay, I don't want to turn that off. Okay. I'm just going to turn it off. Okay. I don't see that being what that could be. Okay. I think that he's referencing the Netflix documentary that's coming out produced by fucking 50 Cent. Because we can't say 50 Cent's not a producer. He is a very big producer of a lot of very big shows. One of the biggest shows in the world right now called Power on Stars. You see what I mean? So 50 Cent is definitely a fucking producer.
That, to me, it just sounds like a threat. If you play it from the beginning, reach out to the producer and tell he doesn't sound happy with the dude he's reaching out to, right? It just, I don't know. I don't think it's what could it be about 50 Cent? He ain't stopping that thing, right? There's no way you're going to stop that from happening, especially with the feeding frenzy that's going on the planet right now with Sean Combs. That
it's going to make 50 Cent very wealthy.
Would be the, that thing's going to be bigger than
very wealthy.
Really, everybody's waiting. It's going to be huge. No, I can't wait. He's been digging dirt forever.
All right, next one is number 10. So this one, let's see, snapshot. There we go to tab, go to tab. Right, go back a little bit. Here we go.
Lawsuits don't pop, and none of them G's did. I ain't worth nothing. Ain't got shit in my name anyway. Don't even worry about it. Put your money hungry. But all these lawsuits don't pop, and none of them G's did. I ain't worth nothing. Ain't got shit in my name anyway. Don't even worry about it. Put your money hungry.
So my interpretation of that, he's saying that he's got no money and these people that are making allegations are just trying to cash in.
Yep, everybody's just trying to cash in, and he's broke anyway. Right? He's got no cash. He in the Cassie Ventura lawsuit, he brags about the fact that his money is offshore and that everything he is doing. Hold on a second. Sorry.
Pause that for a second. Diddy said he has nothing in his name, no way. So, bunch of money hungry mother. Okay. Because Diddy's cash poor. He has no money, no assets in his name.
I'll play that one again if you want for people. Let me have a look. View tab. There we go. What about all these what?
Lawsuits.
What about all these lawsuits, Pops?
Ain't none of them G's.
Ain't none of them getting shit. I ain't got shit in my name anyway.
So he's hid all his money.
Yeah, somebody touched me in a question where they said, if this cat had all of that time to prepare for this, why would he not have gotten rid of the things like this, right? Why would? And here's my theory on this. I think that he probably didn't, or at least a theory. He didn't have an idea of just what an avalanche this was going to be. I mean, when you get arrested and they take you into prison, you probably assume, you know what? This will make the news, right? I doubt he thought he would be
arrested in jail
every single day for the next year and a half, whatever. This has been
I think these are going to be in jail for a couple years fighting this trial.
We've ever seen it. I think maybe it's a little overwhelming, And I think some of this stuff he had to keep in order to protect himself, and I think that's probably. I think that we're hearing blackmail in there. Maybe I'm crazy, but I think that's the producer reference. I think he was telling people, and then with the Netflix, I think he's saying, "Man, we'll drop that."
Ain't none of them what? No saying.
Play it again. I'm not sure what I heard. You know what?
He said He said none of them have got a case. Basically, they're all just after his money. That's. But he used slang and he used swearing that was muted.
Yeah, none of them are shat, is what he was saying. I believe is the.
Okay.
Yeah, ain't none of them feces. Stat.
Scat. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me bring in the next one then. This one is 20 seconds long. This one, that's okay.
Justin said, what should he do about his window? Man, the you're talking about, you see this shit I'm dealing with right now? I know, Bob. I told this dude that I had to check this out. Tell his light skin ass to go make a club appearance or something. Make some money. You 30 years old and shit. Pay your own fucking car.
I think we need to go over this one in sections. I'll start at the beginning.
Alright. Justin said, what should he do about his window?
What should he do about his whip, dog? Is that what he said?
Yep.
What should he do about his whip, though? Right. And what he's saying is they're coming to repo Justin's car, right? A whip. He's making reference to an automobile. So
right.
And that is a fact that's come out recently that he was getting sued over getting his car. Yeah.
His Bentley.
And he stopped making payments on it right about the time Dad got in trouble, and so it's a shame, but that's what he's talking about.
So y'all just heard, right? I saw a vlogger named Storm Monroe. I'm sure a lot of you know Storm Monroe over there on YouTube. I've done a show with Storm Monroe years ago. Him and Wiley. And a couple other people. It was cute, nonetheless. So, what he covered, whatever Justin, is it Justin or King? I think it's Justin. The light-skinned one, the one that everybody is saying is not Diddy's son. He has been in the vlogs lately because his Bentley, right, that he was paying $3,000 a month on, is looking to be repossessed. He stopped paying the car notes on it. I think I heard Mr. Storm Monroe say way before Diddy even got arrested that Justin wasn't paying the $3,000 a month car payment. And so now we hear the leaked exclusive. Bitches, we got exclusive over here, okay? We got fucking exclusives with Tanisha Talks to Teens, okay? Y'all keep on timing in with Tanisha talking these motherfucking teens, okay? That, Diddy don't give a fuck about his car. He's like, he's 30 years old. I told y'all he was talking to one of his sons because whoever he's talking to said, you know, what is Justin gonna do about his car, though? Like, Justin wants to know what to do about his car, though. And Diddy's like, I don't give a fuck. Do you see what I'm fucking going through right now? I don't give a fuck about his motherfucking car. Told him he's 30 years old. Tell the motherfucker to get a job. I got bigger fish to fry right now than Justin's fucking Bentley. Okay?
All right, I'll continue.
Man, the is you talking about? You don't see this shit I'm dealing with right now?
What did he say?
What the F are you talking about? Can't you see the S I'm dealing with, right?
Right.
I know, Bob. I told this dude that I had to check this out. Tell his light skin ass to go make some club appearances.
Tell his light-skinned ass to.
I didn't hear the last part, but the part he said before that was in the beginning. We missed a little bit before that.
Let me
back that up a little bit. Yeah.
I just want to make sure y'all can hear it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. What he said is to go make a club appearance, but
okay, he told Justin that he better go make a club appearance or something, bitch. Okay, make some motherfucking money, pay that $3,000. People suing me for millions.
Make a club appearance. You can make a bunch of
money.
You
talking about $3,000? Goddamn it!
Celebrity, if you clubs will pay you, X amount of money to show up and hang out for the night because everybody and their brother will come down there to be around whoever, and a lot of. I wouldn't say A-listers, I don't know what you call them, but a lot of celebrities make club appearances as a way to make cash.
Okay, and so how that goes, right? Schofield and Atwood are talking about the reference Diddy made about his son's car, right? His Bentley's on the line to be repoed. Okay, they're about to send Bounty Hunter D down there and get that goddamn car from Justin Cole. Is what they fixing to do. Okay, motherfucker, that's what's fixing to happen. So not for nothing, fucking Diddy's like, from the exclusive, bitches, we got exclusives, okay? That Diddy's ass, is not, I don't give a fuck about your $3,000 a motherfucking month car payment, you little motherfucker. Don't nobody care about that shit. Bitches is suing me for everything I got, even my ass in here. And I don't want to give it to the penal system. I was willing to give it to everybody else when I was free. But I don't think I'm willing to give it to the penal motherfucking system, okay? So take your ass down there to the club and make a guest appearance. You see what I'm saying? And then, as like Schofield and them are referencing it right now with this exclusive leaked Diddy audio we listening to from him being in jail, bitches. Okay, I'm a motherfucking guy. That, considering the nature of the situation, right? Everybody wants to know how the Combs kids are. How are the Combs kids? Oh my God, are they on welfare yet? You know what I'm saying? Like on some stupid shit. Like, okay, what the fuck ever. You see what I'm saying? I'm not saying that, oh my God, they're gonna be, you know what I mean, still living the billion-dollar lifestyle they were living, because motherfuckers, that's been swooped. They done swooped it. You know how they do on the goddamn Apollo stage when they swoop that ass, just, they swooping it. They swooping it, bitch. They swooping it. Okay? But do I think that they're gonna be, you know what I'm saying, out in the gutter some motherfucking where with, you know, rag tags and motherfucking do-rags, bitch? No. I don't. Okay? I'm pretty sure everybody, from what I'm watching in the vlogs, they want to see how the Combs kids are. So that's why Diddy's like, go make a motherfucking club appearance and, like, you know what I'm saying, kind of do some PR work for me. Go down there, tell them I'm all right, but I'd be better if motherfuckers, you know what I'm saying, started ball betting some of these goddamn lawsuits. I'd be better if y'all start being some character witnesses. I need some character witnesses. Okay? So, you see what I'm saying? Like, go make some club appearances, Diddy's son, and, you know, people will pay. They'll probably flood in the clubs. That will bring club, you know, money. You know what I'm saying? And that'll be what that is, type shit. Okay? You can easily, you Diddy's son. You see what I'm saying? You say Diddy's son. They're gonna be like, Diddy's son? Yes, Diddy's son. Get his ass. And if you want to know how one of the Combs kids are. You see what I'm saying? And charge him, and there's your fucking Bentley payment. Okay? Okay. I'm gonna excuse myself to go use the little girl's room.
The brother's talking about it, and he said, yeah, I told his dumb him.
Okay, oh my God.
Okay, let me finish it. Okay.
You're 30 years old, man. Pay your own car.
I got a goddamn Bentley Diddy.
You always gotta, you got a kid that just not having a good day, and the kid's just, hey, what about the Bentley, Dad? I know you're locked. At least they're all completely narcissistic and self-absorbed. Right? It's a family trait, apparently. Yeah. Help us. That's awful, isn't it?
23 seconds on the next one. Let me rewind it.
I told him to drop some music. I'm about to drop a new track this week. Everybody.
I told him to drop
none
some
of
music.
that cracking.
Yep. I'm about to drop a new track this week.
Okay, ain't none of that cracking.
Dropping a new track this week.
Well, this would have been a few weeks back, but this is King talking. King Combs. However, that ain't gonna happen. You'll hear. Dad's not enthused about that as a concept.
Okay, what I miss, y'all?
Y'all need to stay quiet. Hot for rap though. We got attention right now, man.
I'm done.
It's a fairly good argument. The kid said they all going to want to hear that as I got to say, right? And they are going to want to. It's a legit argument. He says, come on, Dad, I can rap. And right now, all of the attention is on us. I mean, think about what would happen if this dude did throw down a diss track, right? If he started to just, do you have any idea? Like, for real?
I do. I know exactly what is going to happen. The feds are going to use it against Diddy. Just like they motherfucking did. See, these are white men, okay? Schofield and Atwood are affluent white men, okay? So they're not going to understand the assignment as it being, if you throw out a diss track against the feds, they're gonna use it against your ass to continue to criminally indict you in federal court. See, that don't usually happen to too many white folks in America, but it happens to black ones every day. Okay? So Schofield and Atwood, okay, these two affluent, bald-headed white men sitting right here, girl. They motherfucking ass don't understand the concept. If King Combs puts out a motherfucking diss track and it's directed at the feds, Diddy is going to probably get the motherfucking death penalty round here. Just like when he did that shit before he got arrested. And they went and arrested Diddy's ass 3-4 days before they were supposed to arrest his motherfucking bald-headed ass. Didn't King Combs put out a motherfucking diss record against the feds all motherfucking ready? Talking about how the feds ain't got shit, how they dissed that and the third, and whoopty-hoopty hollering. Okay then. Didn't they go get Diddy ahead of schedule? Okay then. See, the white men sitting here love the content, love the exclusive shit they are giving to Nisha Tox Taste. I'm eating it up. I'm eating it up. I'm eating it up. See, now in my days, at the age I am, bitch, this is how I eat up shit. This is how I eat, okay? I ain't eating beating up bitches no more. I'm eating, living off of the great content that I'm getting to bring to my blessed besties from all of my blessed vloggers that be getting this shit first goddamn me hand and bringing it to me like, eat it up, TT, eat it up. Okay, let's eat.
But if this cat would have made a diss track, it's gonna get all kinds of air.
It's gonna get airways right onto the Fed's desk.
Anything he did right now, it would go to #1 like Kim's last words.
Yeah, even if it was to mock it, the guy would get an awful lot of. Everyone's gonna want to hear it. Everyone's reporting on it.
Yeah, everybody gonna want to hear it like the FB to the eye.
It's a lifetime opportunity.
It's a once in a lifetime.
To give your dad the death penalty.
How often is your dad going to get sent up on the most foul charges on planet Earth and become the absolute poster child for demonic Hollywood? Right? That's a once in a lifetime shot. And Dad says to him,
Daddy already going to hell. That's not. I stomp his ass down even further, okay? Because that's exactly what a diss track to the feds is gonna do.
On legal considerations.
I think that he's a control freak. I think that
it's gonna stop Diddy down the L. Till ties both.
Come up there. He likes to be able to exert control, right? His kid wants so badly to do this. I think he's really a sick human being, and I think if he's not controlling, like, he's going to go insane. It's like taking, think of what he's been doing and for how long he's been doing it.
Fuck Diddy.
His buzz. Forget the drugs and the sex and all that stuff.
Because look at these victims.
It's just about control.
Sitting out here with all our motherfucking,
that guy,
ass is just
freak. I think that
going along, praying to God that our family and our kids are not victims of Diddy essayers. Okay. Hoping to God that one of us don't run into a fucking Diddy essayer and they're somewhere doing what Diddy was doing.
They're making a mockery of justice and trying to capitalize.
Yeah, or they'll say it's that these are veiled threats and that this was a way that
that's what the fuck I'm praying for. That every one of Diddy's essayers get therapy, get the proper help that they deserve.
He's not in a great spot.
Before we be somewhere at a Macy's, some motherfucker wearing somebody just decide they want to rape our motherfucking asses, just standing there minding our goddamn business like Diddy was accused of doing to some goddamn me body.
To produce this, you're not gonna see the product before he gets to put it out. And I think, never let that happen. It could hurt him. It could absolutely look horrible.
So I'm keeping all my blessed besties lifted up in prayer. I'm gonna move my situation around because I'm on low percent. But we're not going to tune out. We're going to continue to tune in. You are timed in. Let me pause this with Tanisha Talks Teas. Okay? We are timed the fuck in. We got exclusive audio of Diddy from jail, y'all. Can y'all fucking believe it? I can, okay? Because I am one of the top vloggers in this motherfucking game, okay? That run it, nigga. When some new hot shit hit the airways, bitch, I'm always one of the first to hear the shit. My vloggers keep me up. My news keep me up. I'm one of the ones that be having that fucking tea. I be having that tea, bitch, okay? So we're finna turn our situation around. I am something like a person that loves oils and lotions and sunflower seeds and shit like that. So my desk area is consumed with that. So give me a minute while I rearrange some of my things to put my computer up here. Okay, I got food. I got toilet paper to blow noses, girl. I got NyQuil and Robitussin and gloves and air fresheners and all types of water and pickers up here, girl. Okay, my desk looks like I live, you know what I'm saying, for the tea talk and for my life and my projects and my family and my schedule. And living on the side of right, okay? So when I flip over in this motherfucker, you best believe I'm going to heaven, okay? I don't got to buy a ticket like Diddy hope he can do. Okay, because I ain't got nothing on here. I ain't got no peak cocaine. I ain't got none of the, you know what I'm saying, things to hurt nobody. My oils ain't got no GHB in it or none of that shit. Okay, I got raspberry, strawberry preserves, good shit around me. Okay. So I got to set it up. I got to clear it off, clean it up so that I can set my computer on it. I'm very comfortable on my bed. I know y'all remember the days of me talking tea with my computers and my TV monitors all set up. I don't necessarily have that going on anymore. I have had both of my children diagnosed with autism. And so that is, you know, my number one most focus and concern. So that's what I've been doing. Got them in a great school for autism, everything. My project, my foundation for them, Eladora's Treasures, is really, you know, doing the damn thing. It's really a great project that I founded on the strength of me just being a mother of autism children. And so that's our project. That's what we're doing now. Just continuing to strengthen the families of families with autism and ADHD and so forth and so on. Okay, so as we are listening, right? to Diddy. Let's set it up. Okay.
Got phone calls, which are allegedly authentic, from the jail of Diddy. Tommy said he's got a good source and he's trusting his source, and we are going with it for now. And we're about to finish this one, so let me continue.
I told you to do, and don't forget about the list. Make sure that you the sign. Alright.
What was the last part there?
Basically, he wants him to do nothing, but he does want to get that list taken care of. There's a list, and he wants it signed, right? Whatever that list is, I think a lot of people probably immediately think about NDAs because we heard, you know.
Oh, Diddy wants the NDAs to be brought into effect. However, I'm going to pause. However, I learned that NDAs don't hold up in court, especially no criminal ones. I hear NDAs don't hold water in court. You cannot use NDAs in a criminal court case. So even if Diddy tries to like put in the NDAs that he may have with certain people, not in the Fed case, the RICO case, I don't think that they're going to allow that into the indictment of Diddy.
Allegedly, there's a 13-year-old girl that had to sign an NDA to go into, to the VMA after party. It's legendary how many people this guy's got NDAs from, right? You go to a party at his house, you go to hang out, like everything, and I think he believes that they're a lot more powerful than they are, right? You know something? I have said the exact same thing. I promise you, almost word for word, right? There's a lot of smoke over this thing, right? There's a ton of smoke. It's been my experience. When there's that much smoke, there's usually a decent amount of fire, right? And
more than Diddy's going to be able to put out.
Cases. There's an awful lot of cold cases that seem to be within this cat's orbit, and that's kind of odd. You know what I mean? It really is. How many people do you know that have been bumped off and not in the case?
More than Diddy's going to be able to put out.
I don't think have a 6-pack of those lying around, but he's a very unusual character, and he might be. You know, he really might be. Great.
I mean, first thing that comes to my mind when I hear list is La Lista, like the hit list in prison.
I mean, it could be, but
a hit list.
I mean, maybe he's just being slick because you do have to come up with. But so if he was on a regular yard, right? If he was on, let's just say he was at an FCI when I was down there, he was at a USP. If you had this phone conversation, you wouldn't get through the phone conversation, right? I promise you would not get through the phone conversation. When you started talking about the recycling and the pizza boxes and all that, they would have been in there going, "What are you doing? Hang up." And you'd have been in a room with SIS and they would be barking at you. Or even to say the phrase, "Hey, like I told you," like you had set something up previous. The feds are vicious, but this really isn't a Fed yard, right? This is a little bit different.
Guys, get your questions in, please, folks. If you wanted to review any of the calls, we can go back. If you've got questions about specific calls, if you can remember what numbers they were, we can go back. If you've got any questions for Tommy, get them in the chat. And in the meantime, I have got a question for the viewers. So put a 1 in the chat if you think these phone calls are legit.
I do.
Put 2 in the chat if you think they may be fakes or they may be AI. And let's see what the consensus is. So we've got ones coming in, ones.
I think they are real.
Can lawyers bring in a cell phone? Ones.
And why I think they're authentic is because, I mean, they sound really like Diddy.
Because
the son's voice
and as I said,
really sounds like,
I ended up
his kid.
having a relationship with my
and the basis of the nature of the phone call.
But
I think all of that is
that woman
legit.
came and saw me as an attorney, right? She was coming to hang out with me, but never brought me anything. I swear to you, I would tell you, right? Never brought me anything, nothing like that. But one day we were sitting in there, and she reached into her pocket and took her phone out and just started to like jack with her phone. And I went,
pause and time in with me, okay? Tanisha Talks Tea. So, also, how deep delved in, right? Dived in the Diddy stuff is. I think if somebody wanted to do an AI on Diddy, I think it would have been a lot worse of a phone call. You know what I mean? Like, listen at what Diddy said to get the wow factor, right? This isn't like a wow, but this is like a wow. You know what I mean? Like, we got inside listening ears on what Diddy has been talking about on the phone from behind bars in New York. So I think that if somebody really wanted to, like, make it be a wow factor, because everything that has been coming from Diddy, you know what I mean, thus far has been like, wow. You know what I mean? Like, oh my God, I can't believe that motherfucker did this, that, and the third type shit, right? So.
are you allowed to bring that in here? And she, sort of freaked out. She's like, oh my God, no, I wasn't supposed to. But I get the idea that they don't really pat him down much, right? I mean, she just forgot it and walked right in with it. But yeah, all calls are recorded, but yeah.
It's about 98% ones right now.
Yeah. Here's the thing, right? I don't know anything, right? I'm not the brightest bulb, but I mean, maybe if what they're suggesting is that AI, you get the voice figured out by AI. I don't think AI could write the script. I really don't. There's
Thank you.
I mean, it really does the language, right? But this isn't the Queen's English by any stretch, right? So maybe AI's to the point where it can just mimic kind of speech patterns from different parts of the world and how they've kind of evolved. But I don't know. I really don't. But what I will tell you is it was frightening running with the story that that those bottles have been tested and there was G in it. Because I promise you, nobody did that one before I did it, and that one was frightening. And this I had enough faith in the source then to take that thing public.
So now we're also going to make sure that we follow this Tommy Schofield guy, because he seems to be having like the inside exclusive shit going on down to the Diddy shit. Okay. Tanisha Talks to Teas. I want y'all to like, follow, continue to share, continue to comment on the Diddy stuff. We are getting great commentary, talking really great tea. We're sipping great tea from this kabako mess Diddy has, going on. So thank you all. Okay, we're still tuned in. I mean, we got to be on here for 10 hours tonight, because this is a lot to unpack. I've been gone. Like I said, I'm a mother. 2 of my kiddos are autistic, right? So I'm a busy girl. Like, I'm always trying my best to keep up with what that looks like for me as a parent raising 2 autistic kiddos. So like I don't always have the time to go live to give y'all tea. I'm so glad that I was able to jump on and get this exclusive tea, because I don't really hear a lot of vloggers yet talking about the Diddy audio. Trust me, they're going to be. And I'm here for it. I'm very thankful that I'm one of the ones, you know what I'm saying? I don't just stick to, my vloggers like this, and I listen to the ones that look like this. Okay, so.
There's no way for me to be able to tell you that at all. What I can tell you is this. If this call came out of NBC Brooklyn, right? And I do believe, and if I didn't think it did, I probably wouldn't bring it out. And somebody said earlier, either way, you kind of got to bring it to the people and, let them decide. I don't know that would be the tact I would take. If I thought there was a pretty decent chance it was BS, I think I probably wouldn't run with it. But if this did come out of there, right, they got paid. Trust and believe they got paid. So there's a chance, if they got away with one, that they'll probably do another. That usually happens that way.
We're here for it. Yes.
That's
Okay,
what
we are
it's like.
staying tuned in.
We did a video today about Mike.
We are here for it. And every
See,
time we get an update exclusively from Tommy, that's getting inside Diddy audio from jail in New York, bitch. We are going to jump right on as soon as we can and cover it.
You know, it just keeps coming back to that same dynamic, though, doesn't it? I mean, you want to break into this, you want to be a star, you want to be an actress, you want to be a model, right? I mean, the people who are using the ability to give somebody the dream life, right? They're always going to leverage that. It seems to be that they're always going to leverage that and become scumbags. And it's sad to say that, but it kind of does look that way.
AI wouldn't get all the background noise, surely.
Yeah, you would think, right? That's another thing that kind of, and I'll be honest, I didn't think about that much. The only thing that stood out to me about the background was that had this been a call from the shoe. I mean, I remember what it sounded like when I was sitting in the cell talking on a shoe phone, because I spent years, right, talking on the phone that way, because I did a whole shoe term, and it was always so loud, you know what I mean? And you could yell out the door and say, "Hey man, how about hooking a brother up?" But it's just as loud as it could possibly be.
But we gotta think about this being Diddy. If Diddy asks for some privacy, more than likely he'd get some privacy to make a phone call.
Yeah, I'd probably. No, I shouldn't say probably. A possibility. I won't. I won't, and the reason that I wouldn't try to do it is because this person has been cool to me, and I'd like to keep it that way. You know what I mean? I'd definitely like to keep it that way.
So, Chica Sherry Cola, is this a big story outside the US? Here in the UK, it is just headline after headline after headline. There's like at least five stories a day breaking on Diddy here in the UK in the major
here as well
media outlets. Is it the same over there?
Yep.
It's here's the thing, like if you want to, it's insane. It's absolutely insane. But if you want to research this thing, hey, good afternoon. If you want to research this thing, you kind of got to do it off the platforms. You know what I mean? Like if you're chasing stuff down and you're going to chase it down on YouTube, it gets harder because there's just so much BS out there. I mean, you've seen it, right? The clickbait is. I've never seen anything that draws more clickbait than Diddy. The amount of information that's going up about him by the minute is terrifying, and I've never seen anything like this on the internet ever.
Well, CP is asking if he's on a live watch, would there be as much noise as being on a normal wing? Good question.
More often than not, the first cell, right, in the shoe is set up to be the on a live set, right? It's got the first, so, and then usually only on the first floor. Then if there's somebody in that one, then they usually kick them down to medical, and medical will have at least 2 or 3 other cells. But normally, if that person would be in the shoe, right, in the segregated housing unit, I don't think they could bring him down to medical, honestly, because there's a lot less structure. It would be a lot more difficult to keep him safe, I think. Right? You'd want him locked up.
So, Tommy, do you know what part of the prison he is domiciled in presently? And if so, do you know what the protocol is in that part of the prison to get on the phone?
So he's in the segregated housing unit, but he is in a wing of the segregated housing unit that they said is specifically for very high profile inmates, people who have deals and the world knows that they cut deals, kind of a thing, or people with really messed up charges, which is what Diddy's got, right? So it could be one floor, right? The shoe is usually a couple of wings upstairs and downstairs, right? So all they got to do is take one little section of it and say these 5 cells or these 6 cells or whatever are going to be for the high profile guys. And I kind of think it's one of those, he's got to be getting babysat in a really big way. I'd be willing to bet, if at all possible, They're going to try to clear as many people away from him as possible. We know Sam Bankman-Fried is in that little section, and we know some of the other people, but I don't think they're going to want anybody on the hallway that isn't that level of protective custody, because if they're there, they're just going to crap all over them 24/7. They terrorize people in PC. Those guys don't get any love. People will scream at them, try to slime them. It's not a good thing to be in there.
So to get on the phone, would the officers bring him a phone? Would he have to be escorted?
There's a bean slot, right? Like now you get fed through the food slot, right? So there's a door, a little slot cut in the door that the cops open with a key, and that's how they hand you your food, right? Well, they bring a phone that's on wheels, right? It's on a pedestal, and it comes right up to the window. And you reach out, dial the number, and pull the cord, which is about that long. So you stick your face into the bean slot, and you hold the phone, and that's the way that it works. And inevitably, the fellas have taken the phone cord and pulled all the yellow wire out of it, because you don't need the yellow wire in order for it's an extra, and they need it to make speakers or whatever they're doing. So they always cut the thing out, and you always get shocked every time you touch that phone. It's usually messed up to the point where if you touch metal, you're going to get a good shot.
Click, click. Can you run the sound through a program that tells you whether it's AI or not? I welcome any viewers to attempt that and let us know the results, because I'm not familiar.
Yeah, that would be that's a really cool thing if they got it. I would love it, right? And do they have that technology for video too? I mean, is there an app out there for that? It's God Almighty, would that be cool to have, right? There's a lot of BS.
Jojo, why is there so much noise in the background? Is that other people? I figured he would be by himself.
Never. There's never anywhere in prison that you're going to be by yourself. It's impossible. And this is a place that was designed to hold 1,300 people. And it never holds 1,300 people. It's not like the horror stories you hear that there's 3,200 people in there or anything like that. But at one point it was 1,600, and that's a lot over capacity. You would be really surprised what an extra 300 people can do to really, ratchet up tensions. I think right now they're closer to 1,300, but there's nowhere to nicely put someone where you can just sort of keep them that way. It doesn't happen. So he's going to be, even if they gave him a section of 4 cells that no one was allowed anywhere near, there's going to be a rotunda, and there's going to be 4 arms that come off of that rotunda, and inmates screaming at the top of their lungs to communicate with their friend who's 9 cells down, and it's around the clock. Normally in a regular GP unit, if a guy did that, when they popped the doors in the morning, 2 guys would go in there and kill him. Right? You can't make noise at night. After 9 o'clock, it's silent. You go to sleep, because that's where people live. In the SHU, these guys know they're never going to touch each other ever again. They're all getting shipped to different prisons, and the level of disrespect in the segregated housing unit is unbelievable. Right? It's just horrendous. It's round-the-clock noise. It's awful.
Yeah, so there's a constant in all the prisons. There is a variability. In some places I was housed where it was serious if you made noise at night. There was a rule called 10-10, where you wasn't supposed to make any noise after 10 or until 10. And by no noise, that means the din's going to go from 10 decibels down to 2 or 3 decibels.
Right.
There's always noise. It's inescapable. Perhaps the quietest period of time that I ever noticed was Christmas Day. It was like a depression descending on the prison, and everyone's just reflecting on their actions and how their loved ones, the effect on the loved ones, and that was the quietest I experienced. What was the quietest you experienced, Tommy?
Right before the fecal matter hit the oscillator, you know what I mean? Right before the ship hit the sand, I was in a state prison, and we were in the chow hall. I was a fish, man. I'd never been to prison, and I'd been down for a really short period of time, and I was with an old timer, and I went, boy, man, it's quiet. He grabbed my arm. But in there, they had shotguns would come out of these little holes in the wall, and they would shoot these things that had little, like, rock-hard rubber balls that would take the sting out of you and make sure you didn't want to fight anymore. And this old man just grabbed me, and I had no idea what he was doing, but as we were trotting away, they were already racking him in. And, yeah, I'll never forget it, because there was all these people. I was looking around. There had to be 350, 400 guys in the chow hall, which is always really loud, right? And nothing. You know what I mean? It was like, you know, all that. From that point forward, anytime it started getting quiet, I usually started looking for an exit.
Yeah, sometimes when something's about to pop off, the din changes, doesn't it? Like there's an anticipatory quiet, and the body language of all the prisoners, and people start posturing differently on the yard, and it's like animals, isn't it? Just
it is. It's absolutely like animals. It is. There's no other way around it. I mean, and I mean that's what they do to us, right? You're never meant to live in a walk-in closet with another guy in a bunk bed and a toilet and a sink. You know, honestly, we're not designed for that, and it does cause all kinds of problems. You were talking about the holidays. I've never, in the feds, I never did a year that somebody didn't unalive themselves during the holidays. I never got through one. It's just, it happens, and I've been really open and honest, man. The holidays were the worst for me. I hated it, but it is a lot quieter. It's a lot quieter because everybody's just sort of, you know, trying to get through it, like a 1 minute at a time thing. Especially the first year I was sober. God, it was rugged.
We've got a few people asking for the pizza call again. I think that is one of the most startling ones of this.
I think that's 4, right?
Yep, got it right here. Let's go.
I'm gonna need you to get rid of all the leftover pizza boxes. The what? All the boxes left over from the pizza. All the boxes.
That's really, it's creepy as hell, right? It's creepy as hell. It's and the reason that the only of all of the ones, this was the one that made me go, you know, damn, right? Because I want it to be real. I don't want it to be AI. This was the one that made me question it the most, because you do think to yourself, you know, how could you be so freaking stupid, right? Of all the code in the world, you couldn't come up with something better than that. But who knows, man? I mean, I really don't. It's there are people. In fact, that I have fired off questions to tons of people I know outside of the YouTube community just for laughs. Like, are you familiar with this? Or are you familiar with this? The Jody Hildebrand and that other woman that the child abuse case out of Utah. It's a huge story in the U.S. And I talk to people and they'd be like, I have no idea what you're talking about. Those of us who spend a lot of time on some platforms like YouTube get news differently than people do in the real world. And what you see in the real world on the news is limited stuff, and it's exactly what they want you to see. So it's I don't know, it's really different.
Guys, that's not the only call we've got. If you've just jumped on, we've played about 10 clips earlier on in the stream. So rather than repeat all that for the rest of the viewers and put the same questions in the chat, please go back and start the screen from the beginning, because we'd like to answer questions that have not been answered yet rather than repeat ourselves. And the sewing channel, do you think he took the call while sitting in a private room with his lawyer?
I don't. I get the feeling, and again, this is a convict opinion, and John, you tell me what you think. But to me, it sounds like normally the way it works, the inmates usually, goes up, his person is on the other side holding the phone waiting, right? And you come and you pick up the phone. The start of this call is, "What's up, Pops?" I don't think that's how, I could be wrong, but I don't think that's how you start a phone call normally, right? It is if you're looking at your dad. It is if it's kind of a casual, it's the feeling I get is that this was recorded from a conversation between glass, 2 phones, they're always recorded. And that, I think, is the origin of it, but I don't have the ability to, that's speculation, completely.
Red Wolf's wondering where he would have been put while going through withdrawals.
Exactly where he is right freaking now. They don't do a damn thing to help you out with that. If you get some cops that are really cool, they'll throw you extra clothing, and because very often you end up soiling yourself. You cough and it's over. And some cool cops will let you, or take you out to shower after something like that. But more often than not, even with putting up with that, they're just going to leave you in there. They look at you as even more filth. You know what I mean? It's like inmates are already scumbags, but you're even worse. What the hell's the matter with you? And I was usually that dude. They don't do anything for you.
You've got nothing coming, is the saying. Franz, do you know the medical acuity level of the facility? Could they resuscitate him, or would that happen off campus?
That's an excellent question, isn't it? It really is. It's a great question. Every facility in the feds has a doctor on staff and has a plethora of nurses and physicians' assistants on staff. They have things like crash carts and all of that at every one of the facilities. So they absolutely could resuscitate somebody. They've got all of the equipment, automatic external defibrillators, right? The AEDs where you just put the little pads on instead of having to do the whole clear thing. Those are in every single unit in the feds. There's one on the wall. You don't even have to wait for people to get there. If a guy goes down, staff will start on that before medical even gets there. They definitely are. If they want to save you, they could. I guess is the way to put it. Right?
So Agent Orange is wondering how often the calls in the feds get interrupted by an announcement of a recording in progress.
About every 5 minutes. You get 3 of them. There's one right in the beginning. And then 5 minutes in, you get one. And then, or no, you know what? It's got to be 3 minutes. It's every 3 minutes. I think you get, it's a 15-minute call, and it's every 3 minutes. It was when I was there. It was every 3 minutes. Annoying as hell. It's a voice that comes on and says, this is a call from a federal institution. Another reason that I thought, if he's sitting across from someone on the glass and they're recording this, you wouldn't hear any of that. Although, if you take all the clips and put them together, it's not long enough where you would have heard it anyway. But anybody if anyone was trying to AI that, they'd probably know, right, how long that would be.
So, almost 4,500 watching live with Tommy Scoville. We have played and analysed the calls, and we are answering your questions. And Bulldog, didn't they check Diddy's keister when he went through intake? Would he have been able to bring in any of his party favours?
They don't technically. I mean, they're not doing a cavity search. They do have, I think they're called backspatter or black splatter. The machines they use in airports. I would say 7 out of 10 of the federal prisons that I went to back when I was there had those. They have X-ray machines at every yard, right? But most of them now have that machine that you go through at the airport. If you've got something stashed in you, you've got a shot at getting through with it. It just depends on if you know how to package it, you know what you're doing or whatever. I guess there are people who get stuff in, right? But yeah, it's hard. It really is. It's hard getting stuff in.
Follow-on question about contraband then, from Kirsten. Given he is going through a horrific detox, is it feasible that someone could offer him what he needs substance-wise in exchange for info?
Yeah, I mean, it's at this point, like, people who are addicted to that substance at that level, they're definitely ready to make a deal. I think there's a level of paranoia with him that's probably not there with the next addict. If somebody were to toss a perk 30 his way, I think he'd probably be a little leery. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he'd just, fire that thing up. But, yeah.
Chris,
yes.
Can both ends of the phone hear the phone announcement?
Absolutely. Both ends of the person on each end of the call definitely can hear everything said. Yeah. Now, when I was in there, you got 300 minutes a month, right? That was the allotment of time that you have. Apparently now, it's 500 minutes a month. This is a theory that a couple of people have reached out to me to tell me that they thought. It didn't ring that way to me. I have sent a lot of cash to the streets for drugs. Like, you know, that was the vast majority of the time I spent in prison, I spent as a drug addict. And, you know, there's usually really stupid BS ways that you can get away with without having the people there give you too much crap. Like, I need you to reach out to Carrie, right? And the info pass, right? It's a little bit. This sounds a little too cryptic to me. It doesn't sound like they're trying to go the green dot method or put money, you know, wire money to the street or whatever. I didn't hear any numbers, right? Normally, you know, if you're trying to buy dope, there's going to be a cash amount, and they're going to work that in there. You know, hey, have you seen so and so? You know, on 904th Street or whatever. And, you know, there's usually some amount of money if there's a drug transaction.
Could he become the boss of the block by buying people?
No, no, he can't. He could stay alive on the block by buying people, but no, he's not going to become the daddy of the block, because the guy that is the podfather or the guy that's got the yard, he doesn't care that this dude made music or hung out with J-Lo. He's now in his world. You know what I mean? Like, honestly, it's a very bizarre thing. If you've ever been around someone who has a yard given to him, like, I had a really close friend in the BOP that we were doing the same chemicals every single day. The two of us would get together. He was a Mexican fella, and he was in a gang. He got the yard we were on given to him. All of a sudden, this was his yard, and like there was a celebration, and there was like this stuff going on behind the scenes for like a month and a half. We were all waiting to see if this is the dude that was going to get it, and all of a sudden, 10% of everything that comes in that joint, right, through visiting or through a cop or through whatever, 10% is going to go to that, right? And there are people, you know, you're paying tax and stamps, right? A certain amount, everybody kicks in every single month. He's not going to be, the people who get that aspire to that. Like, this is their life. No, they're not. They're going to be very hot and bothered about anything. But more than likely, he's going to be in DC. There aren't going to be shot callers. Or, you know, it's a very different situation at that kind of custody.
It doesn't matter how big and bad you are on the streets. When you are in prison, that is all stripped. Not only you're all just wearing the same outfit and you're all equal, but when you are housed that many people, it's like an X-ray is revealing all of your inner dynamics to them. You are stripped bare. They can see everything about you. Yep. And the best he can hope for, and I'm not hoping he gets this by saying it because he's got nothing coming, the best he can hope for with his money is that, like with what Jeffrey Epstein did, he can ameliorate his situation, even though he's got the chomo jacket, by throwing that money around and trying to alleviate a KOS or some kind of attack on him. I think that's the best he can do under the circumstances.
Yeah, I think, you know, he's never going to get put in GP. I don't think there's any chance the BOP could ever put him in a general population yard. So he's going to end up at one of the drop-off facilities, and there are going to be some stone cold killers on that yard. And I agree with Sean. The best that he can hope for would be to use his cash to be able to coexist on that yard and not have people give him a real ration of crap every time he goes to chow, every time he goes to yard. And it may not even be violent, but it's just, it's got to be a very uncomfortable thing if every single person in your little world hates you, right? Like, it's got to be a feeling that's, the reason that they don't cavity search him questions is because it's not allowed, right? I mean, if they have to, they can take you to a medical facility to get that done, right? But they usually won't do it in the prison, because once they start trying to go inside somebody in prison, the lawsuits are going to come and they're going to talk about all kinds of crazy stuff. So normally they would be brought to a medical facility, and it doesn't happen, because if the only reason they'd be going in there is because they saw something on the machine, and they'll turn the computer screen to the guy and go, "Is that a cell phone I'm looking at?" Because I actually saw that happen. The guy said, "What are we looking at here? Is that a cell phone?" The guy hooped his cell phone, which is impressive. But he had yeah. But usually they'll drop it out after that. You know, they're not going to try to keep taking that one with them at that point. It's like, yeah, you go.
Leela wants to know if he can buy extra comforts while he's awaiting for trial.
I'm gonna pause that. I did a deep delve into what Diddy may have been referencing when he said get rid of all of the pizza boxes. So first thing that came up was like little simple things like, you know, how do you get rid of an absurd amount of pizza boxes? Not like entertaining the idea that it could be something criminal until I scrolled down. And what I found was in computing, right? Pizza box would be considered like the desktop of a computer or the network switches. Pizza box cases tend to be wide and flat, normally 1.5 to 4 inches or 4 to 10 centimeters in height, resembling pizza delivery boxes, and thus the name. Schofield said that it meant something salacious and heinous, like regarding somebody under age. I don't know if that's necessarily what that meant. Schofield saying that maybe Diddy was referencing pizza boxes as in get rid of the younger kids that, you know, may have something to come out with me about, right? My simple just Googling it says that what is a pizza box in networking is what came up. I literally just asked the question, what does it mean when someone says get rid of pizza boxes? And so that came up, like referencing the pizza box to be like the case style of a desktop computer or the network switches. I'm gonna type in the criminal world, okay, and see what pops up. Okay. Okay. So okay. Pizza box on Reddit. That people use it in crime to say like I have 32 pizzas hidden in my closet. I'm afraid to throw them away because then people will see how much pizza I eat. Maybe it is something in similar relation to what Schofield is referencing, because after I, you know, dive deeper into it, I'm coming up with certain said things like people are obsessed with this weird pizza box. The company behind it won't discuss it. I guess Andrew Tate pizza box tip for the Romanians. Avoid violating HOA policy. Don't recycle pizza boxes. But I mean, it's really, like he said, not a lot that's really explained. It's now taking us to TikTok. Because I'm trying to get my ancient iPad to work. Okay, but I'm so very thankful that I have this one. I have 2 of them. But I'm using this one as of now. This one is the older generation one. Like one of the first ones, second one, third one, I don't know. But it still works, so I'm using it. I don't know, my TikTok's not coming up. Let's see. And let's see what more they're talking about on here. We still have a little bit more to go for the conversation. Hold on, it just clicked completely out. Okay, y'all, anywho, those were the Diddy leaked audios. Let me know what y'all think. I'm still doing, you know, some Diddy talk about, you know, what's current and up to date. Let's see who all else is talking about it. I seen a couple of bloggers talking about it. Diddy breaking news. Let's see. Okay. Let's go ahead and type in Diddy snitching. Let's see. Because I did hear that Diddy was supposed to be snitching on the CEO of Abercrombie. Thank you, boo-boo. King Academics is talking about it. I don't really necessarily listen to DJ Academics because I also hear that he's an essayer. The Academy is talking about it. Is this DJ Academics or King Academics? Let me see. I don't know.
Cannabis. It's not just legal in 38 states. It's a $36 billion global industry, and it's growing.
What's your driving force? Do you feel like you've done it all?
Yeah, this is DJ Academics.
Do you feel like now it's all for the plots? Is the plot you? It's further self-discovery the plot? Is it domination?
Okay, I don't necessarily listen to DJ Academics, y'all, because I hear that DJ Academics has done some very similar such things as to what Diddy has been accused of doing. So, let me see. Diddy snitching on other CEOs. Let's see who's talking about it. Let's see. The Academy. Let's see who this is.
Y'all gotta stop going on rants.
DJ Academics.
Yo, I gotta
so
stop
he's
going
got
on rants,
2 or 3 YouTube
really
channels running simultaneously.
I gotta stop going.
Okay. Okay. Diddy newest lawsuits reveal 2 celebrities involved in crimes. Okay, we talked about that one earlier. It was a young guy that was talking about it, but you watch YouTube, you got 1,000 subscriptions, okay? Let me see if this Atwood blogger has talked about it. Diddy's dark legacy. Explosive revelation. Okay. I'm just gonna type it in. Snitching on other CEOs. Abercrombie. Let's see. Let me see. Shocking similarities between Diddy and Abercrombie CEO Mike Jeffrey accusations. Kempire talked about it. Let's chime in with Kempire on YouTube and see what he says.
Who's ready to hatch some cool pets?
It's circulating around that Diddy snitched on the CEO of Abercrombie and that he was arrested.
Former CEO of Abercrombie and Fitch, Mike Jeffries, and his partner and the middleman that helped them orchestrate these parties that they conducted here in the United States and around the world were arrested this morning for trafficking charges.
This comes in as of
welcome back to the Kempire channel, your number one
4 hours ago, so that means they were arrested on today type time.
As always, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on breaking news when we go live or when we upload. So if this story sounds familiar to you, yes, we've been covering a very similar case that Diddy has been accused of.
Let's subscribe to Kempire.
Is Diddy finally naming names? Well, no. People have been discussing Mike Jeffries and the accusations against him for a while now, including a former Below Deck star came out and had accusations against Mike Jeffries and his partner. NBC News says this in regards to an update because the Eastern District of New York did hold a press conference a moment ago. They said the former CEO of Abercrombie & Fitch, Mike Jeffries, has been arrested on trafficking and interstate prostitution charges, prosecutors announced Tuesday. Jeffries has been arrested in West Palm Beach, Florida. Two other associates, Matthew Smith of West Palm Beach, that's his partner, and Jacobson of Wisconsin, were also arrested in connection with trafficking charges. James is believed to be that middleman. They are expected to appear in federal court in Florida and Wisconsin today and arraigned on a later date in the Eastern District of New York. Jeffries was the CEO of the popular clothing brand from 1992 to 2014. Jeffries, Smith, and Jacobson each face a single count of trafficking as well as 15 counts of interstate prostitution tied to 15 alleged victims. Federal indictment alleges Jeffries, along with Smith, his romantic partner, and Jacobson, who was described as a recruiter, operated an international trafficking and prostitution business from 2008 to 2015. It's alleged that they organized events in England, France, Italy, and Morocco, St. Bart's, and New York for Jeffries, Smith, and, quote, others. That's an important detail. They employed coercive, fraudulent, and deceptive tactics in connection with recruitment, hiring, transportation, obtaining, maintaining, solicitation, and payment of the men to engage in commercial sex. A lot of these terms, if you've been following our Diddy updates, sound very familiar, don't they? The men who attended the events allegedly were led to believe that it could lead to modeling opportunities or help their careers, or, quote, that not complying with requests for certain acts during events could harm their careers. The men were required to sign non-disclosure agreements and surrender their wallets and cell phones during the events. Jeffrey, Smith, and Jacobson also allegedly recruited, hired, and paid an exclusive set of household staff to, quote, facilitate and supervise events. Sound familiar? A lot of this sounds very similar to the Diddy case. The staff provided Jeffrey, Smith, and the men who attended alcohol, muscle relaxants, again, sound familiar, known as, quote, poppers, lubricant, Viagra, and condoms, among other items. Either Jacobson or the staff paid the men for attending these events, the indictment said. Breon Peace, the U.S. Attorney of the Eastern District of New York, said in a news conference that Jeffries and Smith spent millions on the trafficking enterprise. Again, very similar language. The Combs enterprise, not the literal business, but the enterprise that he created around his own freak-offs. They said from paying staff, paying for travel, and paying to maintain secrecy. Peace said that the operation used a referral system and interview process during which the men were allegedly preyed upon were not informed about the details of the events before attending. During those, quote, tryouts of potential candidates, Jacobson typically had candidates first engage in commercial sex acts with him, the indictment said. At the events, the men were pressured to drink and consume poppers, and on more than one occasion when men did not or could not consent, Jeffries and Smith violated the bodily integrity of these men by subjecting them or continuing to subject them to invasive sexual and violent contact by body parts and other objects. First of all, shout out to the victims, because I think a lot of people don't discuss when men are SA'd, and it takes another level of bravery to even come forward and admit this. In a quote, they said, powerful individuals for too long have trafficked and abused for their own sexual pleasure young people with few resources and a dream of securing a successful career in fashion or entertainment. Sound familiar?
Hey, check this out. So I stopped buying random lotto tickets and started doing this instead. You've probably heard that winning the lottery is all about.
He warned anyone who thinks they can exploit or coerce by using the so-called casting couch system that they should prepare to trade that couch for a bed in federal prison. Prosecutors are asking for a $10 million bond for Jeffries, $500,000 for Jacobson, and that Smith be detained pending trial as he is a citizen of the United Kingdom and poses, quote, the most substantial risk of flight. That is Mike Jeffries' partner, the former CEO's partner. Peace said his office became aware of the alleged crimes through media reports, because as I said to you before, this is not new. For those that are aligning, oh, Diddy is speaking. Well, no, they've been following this for a long time. The Eastern District of New York, very much like the Southern District of New York, investigates for a while before bringing their charges. The news of Jeffries comes 1 year after BBC News published an explosive report that said Jeffries exploited men at parties he hosted. The report said that 12 men described attending or organizing events that included sex acts for Jeffries and his partner, Matthew Smith, and those events took place from 2009 to 2015. Some of the men who spoke to the BBC said that they were exploited or didn't participate willingly. Jeffries' attorney, Brian Bieber, told NBC News at the time that Jeffries would not comment on reports about his personal life. Abercrombie & Fitch said the company was appalled and disgusted by the allegations in the BBC report. Bieber told NBC News on Tuesday, in a response to the arrest, we will respond in detail to the allegations after the indictment's unsealed and when appropriate, but plan to do so in the courthouse, not the media. Shortly after that report, Abercrombie & Fitch and Jeffries were sued for allegedly turning a blind eye to Jeffries' alleged misconduct. That civil suit alleged he abused numerous men after luring them with the promise of a coveted modeling contract, CNBC reported. Today's arrests are monumental for the aspiring male models who were victimized by these individuals. Attorney Brittany Henderson, who's representing victims from the class action lawsuit, said in a statement Tuesday. Their fight for justice does not end here, the statement said. We look forward to holding Abercrombie & Fitch liable for facilitating this terrible conduct and ensuring that this cannot happen again. And when asked if the alleged S-trafficking enterprise possibly continued after 2015, Peace said the investigation is ongoing. Again, very similar to Diddy's case. And encouraged any victims or any witnesses to come forward. Cat Williams said at the top of 2024,
all of these big deviants is all catching hell in 2024. It's up for all of them. It don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is. TGJ, any of them, all lies will be exposed. That's all.
Guys, as always, I want to know your reaction to this news that former CEO of Abercrombie & Fitch, his partner, and their middleman have been arrested on S-trafficking charges. Let's continue the conversation in the comment section. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on breaking news when we go live or we upload. Thanks for watching.
that was Kempire over on YouTube. Okay, like I said, I stay the hottest in the TikTok game. Okay, I am always getting the hottest of the TikTok from the hottest vloggers that vlog, babies. Okay, bless besties. Abercrombie's CEOs, Abercrombie and Finch, Mike Jeffries, accusation have come to fruition, have come to light. They have been arrested as of today with a lot of similar findings in their criminal arrests like Diddy's, right? Abercrombie and Finch are a clothing brand. Sean John was a clothing brand. Abercrombie and Finch would bring models, right, to model Abercrombie and Finch line, right? Sean John would bring, people, kids as well, to model said Sean John designs line, right? Clothing, right? Okay, so Diddy, I've already, said that obviously he was going down. He's going to take a lot of motherfuckers down with him as well. And it just not, gonna be, my Meek Mills or, you know what I'm saying? Somebody that, may have been in the things with Diddy, doing said criminal activities, but he was also not going to be the only one to fall from grace as far as like falling off his throne, right? So people are speculating that these Abercrombie, Mike Jeffrey Finch, arrests as of today, October 22nd, 2024, came from the line of Diddy, snitching on them. Okay? You may not want Will Smith, even though I got Will Smith on tape, motherfucker, or whoever in the fuck. But how good are y'all with just keeping Abercrombie and Finch somewhere doing these things as well? Because if you're not so good with them still holding power and position of where they sit, we can dethrone them motherfuckers while you dethroning me too. Okay? So Abercrombie CEO Mike Jeffries arrested this morning for the same exact damn criminal accusations as Diddy Bob. Okay, is what that is. So we have covered a lot today, bless besties. Oh my god, we have talked about Diddy from what was the first on topic that we discussed? Oh my god, it'd be so much with fucking Diddy. I bet. Yeah, we talked about the lawsuits that are, another victim has came out and pursued against Diddy, where she is alleging a lot of heinous, horrendous, just hellacious things that he worded her with an object, while other men also participated, and it was a very horrific ordeal. That 7 new lawsuits similar to the other 15 that have come from the last couple of weeks of Diddy being arrested have now also been entered into the actual lawsuits that will be filed and pursued against Sean Puffy Diddy Combs. Then we happened to just be doing our research, right? And we came up on some actual leaked audio of Diddy from jail calls. Okay, we got a hater on the line. We're gonna need Diddy to stop trying to drop dime, because in that phone call, right, he's like, where's Jay at, man? As Jay reached out, and one of his sons he was talking to was like, no. And Diddy was like, oh, that motherfucker, he tweaking because I'm in here, man. And la da 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 da. And he was, saying Jay. And I don't think there's any speculation of who he's talking, but he ain't talking about his neighbor. He ain't, or, like that he borrowed a pot from, you know what I'm saying? Trying to see if the homeboy Jay from around the way, he talking about the homeboy Jay from around the way that's married to Beyonce. Has he reached the fuck out and asked about how Diddy is doing and la da dee da. So we talked about that, how we felt about that. you know, his son talking about, you know, the other son, I think King, or is it Justin, the light-skinned one that everybody doesn't believe is Diddy's actual natural born son, is inquiring about his car. Like I said, we covered that on the Storm Monroe show, where he brought up, because it's been in the blogs about his son, you know, not paying his $3,000 a month Bentley car note. And so, you know, however, ever have you, he's not G'ing for the son that everybody believes is not actually his real biological son. Caring about a fucking Bentley car note. Diddy's like, motherfucker, I got bigger fish to fry. Like, my ass is literally in a sling right now, and they're finna fling it God knows where for God knows how long. And you talk about a fucking Bentley car. You better take your ass down to a club and do a club show, right? So we covered that. Because of course people will want to know like how the Cone kids are doing. So, and Diddy was like, you motherfucker, you 30 years old, like, do something with your life, motherfucker. You ain't getting no money or nothing. Like, he was going in on the son. He was going in on the son. Like, okay, nigga, you need to get up, get out, and get something, okay? Because you see my ass is in here grass, okay? Finna get mowed. So, not for nothing. We covered that. Actual leaked exclusive audio from Diddy from jail. They are leaking Diddy's audios from jail. They are selling them across, you know, the syndicate market. You know, people are, you know how that is. People are like, hell, why are they the only ones getting paid off of Diddy content? However have you. Everybody doesn't vlog. Everybody doesn't, you know, have their hands in on talking about Diddy. So if I can get a hold of some Diddy audio, I'm finna sell it. That's what it did. So we got exclusive Diddy audio, okay, of motherfucking Diddy talking from jail, ho, to his son, bitch. And that's what the blessed besties get, okay? We get the exclusive hot content to talk about, okay? So we talked about that. Then we covered the Abercrombie, Mike Jeffries, Fitch arrest on today, right? And how they are so similar charges as far as like them wooing them in with the, you know, idea of becoming a model, and then giving them drugs to, you know, essentially get them out of their mind and sexually assault them. And they were arrested on this morning. Let's go ahead and go on over to CNN. Kim Pyre said that CNN did cover the arrest of the Abercrombie CEO. Okay. And let's listen in and see what they're talking about. So, former Abercrombie indicted on sex trafficking charges.
Hi, my name's Mark. I'm a recent customer of
We paying bills, y'all. We paying bills. Okay, let's continue to pay our motherfucking bills too. So we want, you know, like, shares, follows. Thank you, blessed besties.
Are under arrest for allegedly running an international sex trafficking and prostitution scheme.
Y'all, I left my I got the coolest. Hold on. I got the coolest new vape pen, right? Like, it tells me all of like the actual flavorings and everything that I take in. I left it at my best friend's house on Saturday, so I am going to mail her, because she lives like an hour and a half away. I'm gonna mail her an envelope to mail it back to me, bitches, instead of spending like $50 in gas to go down there and pick it up. So, but okay, we're listening on. I'll show y'all that when I get it back. So,
interviewed and hired men for so-called sex parties fueled by alcohol, drugs, and Viagra. And authorities say many of the victims were prospective male models looking for work in the fashion industry. CNN national correspondent Bryn Gingras is following this.
Here, I'm gonna let y'all tune into that and take a peek at that.
Yeah, Boris, one of those co-defendants is actually also Jeffrey's romantic partner, also arrested this morning along with Jeffrey's and a third.
So, pause that shit. Wait a motherfucking minute. Back it up, blessed besties. What did she say?
With Jeffrey's and a third person person who is described by defendants as actually also Jeffrey's romantic partner, also arrested this morning along with Jeffrey's and a third person.
So Jeffries is a homosexual, okay? Him and his partner were arrested. Abercrombie and Fitch are in the LGBTQ community. Okay, y'all.
His wealth to basically find men who wanted to be
Back that ass up.
Yeah, Boris, one of those co-defendants is actually also Jeffrey's romantic partner, also arrested this morning along with Jeffrey's and a third person who is described by prosecutors as sort of a middleman with this whole entire operation. Let me detail.
Oh! Girl, yes, we're gonna need some details, but did y'all catch those details? So, ex-Abercrombie CEO arrested in federal sex trafficking probe. Him, his partner, and their middleman, whoever, you know, they also had, like Diddy had running in the syndicates, you know, people are claiming, Young Miami, his beard, maybe the guy that used to hold the umbrella, you know, were his wingman to wing in, victims. Okay? Whoa, bitch.
Just say happened here. They're saying in about a 7-year period, part of that time, Jeffries was the current CEO of Abercrombie and Fitch, and prosecutors say he was using his power, his wealth to basically find men who wanted to be models and essentially have them try out in sexual ways to come
girl.
to being described as sex events. And those sex events would
I can't even light my cigarette.
They'd happen at houses that Jeffries owned all across the world, really. And at those events, they were sex-fueled events where their prosecutors are saying these prospective models would be given drugs, they'd be given alcohol, Viagra, muscle relaxers to perform sex acts on Jeffries and his romantic
Girl,
partner.
stop all the presses, but keep on pressing.
Count indictment earlier this afternoon.
On more than one occasion, Jeffries and Smith either directed others to inject.
Girl, I used to wear Abercrombie
with an erection-inducing substance for the purpose of.
Yes, okay, I come from a little side of the pofo.
Men were incapable of engaging in or unwilling to engage in.
That's what my mama bought me, Abercrombie, girl.
Arrested out of, not in New York, but they're going to be brought to New York to be in federal court sometime later this week or possibly the beginning of next week, guys.
And this investigation, Bryn, was prompted by a BBC documentary.
Yeah, so that documentary came out last year, and there were several, really dozens of men who came forward to this reporter with the BBC about
that
these
is so wild.
And since that came out, a federal investigation started. Abercrombie and Fitch started its own investigation, and really this, if you can remember, at the time, Abercrombie and Fitch really soared in the early 2000s, and they were hitting, you know, a big. You know, they basically.
I graduated high school in 1999.
Was at the helm of the company. It's important to note that Abercrombie and Fitch certainly has changed its image since then. They have hired new management. They have hired, you know, They have different inclusion practices inside of their company. But certainly this.
And that's because I graduated when I was 15. So I graduated 3 years earlier.
Thank you so much for the update. Joining us now to discuss is defense and trial attorney Misty Harris. Misty, what do you make of the charges that these three men are facing now?
Girl, stop the presses.
What we're seeing in this indictment looks to be a pretty sophisticated sex trafficking ring, as per the prosecutors. Not only do you have 3 co-conspirators who are indicted, but there's also allegations relating to a network of individuals, employees, contractors, security
Girl, stop the presses. And look, they going for now. If y'all don't think, pause that for a second. Tune back in with T Talk. Tanisha Talks Teas right now. Tune back in. Okay. If y'all don't hear her saying that, they are going after all of the moving parts that aided in Abercrombie and Fitch, you know, victimizing people, right? What make y'all think they're not going to do it with Diddy? What make y'all think they're not going to do it with Diddy?
Rely the allegations in the indictment. So my guess would be that there's We know that there's 15 people who are involved relating to the allegations of the indictment. But the question is, do you have some cooperating witnesses who may have been involved more tangentially, not masterminds, who may be assisting with the feds, maybe having non-prosecution agreements? That's something to look for as this case proceeds.
And Misty,
Girls.
the accusers here were under the impression that Jeffries would help their careers. How is that going to factor in?
I done got a headache.
Well, keep in mind that prosecutors have to prove for the sex trafficking charges that there was the recruitment and solicitation of individuals through force,
I need to
fraud,
ask.
or coercion to engage in a sex act. So that's the standard for prosecutors. So that element of force, fraud, and coercion is something that's going to be the prosecutor's burden to prove. Now, of course, when it comes to defense, they're going to look at each one of these individuals, the specific allegations relating to them, and try and potentially make arguments that some people may have been engaging in these acts willfully. And so that's where you see the prosecutors in the indictment setting out that there were other substances involved, that there were other issues that would make them unable to consent to these sexual acts. But the defense uses that in a different way to say, this might not be a sex trafficking ring, it might be a case of state sexual assault, and that's how they're going to try and detract from those allegations.
Misty, some accusers filed a civil lawsuit against the company itself. I'm wondering if you think these federal charges could bolster their claims.
Well, we see a similar pattern here with another case we're covering frequently where there's many civil cases and ultimately there was an indictment. Of course, I'm talking about the Diddy case. But the timing here, not only do you have this BBC expose where you have a whole group of people coming forward alleging that they've been a victim of this conduct and of this sex ring, there's also that class action civil lawsuit. So the standard of proof in a civil case is much different than what is in a criminal case. It's preponderance of the evidence versus beyond a reasonable doubt. Criminal standard, much higher. That being said, a lot of what's in that civil complaint is reflected in the allegations in this criminal indictment. So there's most certainly overlap between the two. And from the perspective of both the prosecution and defense, you don't look at this case in the vacuum. You're going to be looking at those allegations in accordance with this new criminal case.
All right, Misty Maris, very interesting here. Thank you.
For anyone who has developed...
And there y'all have it, okay? There is another entity coming down. Abercrombie and Fitch. Some people are speculating that Diddy did it. Okay? Diddy took him down. However have you. Whatever have you. You see what I'm saying? If that's what that do, that's what that did. You know, thankfully it did. So, we've covered a lot today, y'all. I really want to thank all my blessed besties for clicking, liking, following, sharing, okay? If y'all like the content, drop me a couple stars. They're only 1 cent. I mean, I done gave y'all a lot of my cents today, okay? So, pennies are common. A lot of all my blessed besties have good common sense. Let's put some of them in my stars. They're only 1 cent, but they bring up my algorithm. They bring up my how do you call it? Where, you know, I am seen in all of the, you know, ads and reels and things like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like it all the Diddy shit and all the Abercrombie Finch shit, I can't even think. I'm like, what the fuck? Not for nothing. It keeps me alive on these Facebook streets. And I really thank each and every last one of you guys for supporting. Like I said, there's lots of great things coming out of the Blessed Besties. Boo, we got a lot of great things coming up. So we're not tainted by any of the bad blood that's being spilled on these streets, by Diddy, by the Abercrombies, by any motherfucking body that's out here living in the wayward way of the devil, because we are angels and we are going to continue to stay blessed. Thank you all so much for supporting. This has been Tanisha Talks These Teas. Thank you so much for tuning in. Oh, let me know what you think, okay? Catch up on some of this Diddy tea. Drop me some Diddy tea. Tanisha Talk gmail.com. Let me know what's what, where's what, and I will go and research it. I will go and look at it and see what is best of the best from the blessed booze, my besties, to talk about, and we will talk about it, okay? So thank you guys so much. I love each and every last one of you. Stay prayed up. Stay in the bosom of our Lord, because only there will we truly be protected, okay? Please don't think that in the arms of these predators and, you know, just demons of our world is where you need to be, because it isn't, okay? There's good people in the world, and here sits one of them, and I'm here for y'all. I love y'all. Thank you for blessing me. I love blessing y'all. Have a great rest of your day. Bye. Thanks for watching. Remember to show your support by liking, subscribing, and sharing. It's a blessing. Keep your teacups filled and ready for my next upload. Until then, stay inspired, and remember, always stay dipping.